There you go, guys. Here we are. Traditional tea time starting time.
Nice.
As usual, we absolutely love to see it. Here we are once again. And wow, under some slightly unexpected circumstances, to say the very least, I think. Because did any of you guys see this one coming? The expansion, getting the news this early? I mean, who saw that one coming?
Not this early at all.
No, but I mean, it's
everyone's been calling me crazy. Yeah, it's definitely everyone's been calling me crazy because like when I've been streaming, I've basically been joking about how my only goal right now in game was to save up for X-Pack 3, and then everyone was laughing at me saying, "Haha, X-Pack 3," but now it's actually coming, boys.
Yeah. It is. Expansion 3 is finally coming. So that means Deroir doesn't have to quit the game because it's not a mobile game and it's not Guild Wars 3. So there's still something here for you.
You know how I knew there's big news and big hype for this?
How'd you know?
I was invited back to TeaTime.
Yep.
Yeah. Nice.
Also, I was invited to Jebro's new thing tomorrow.
Ooh, are you gonna become a light bringer? Yeah,
I'm already a light bringer.
Oh, okay. Bring a light to the darkness of the NA roaming scene and of the podcasts, just in general.
Very fitting title, I guess. Actually,
it definitely is. It definitely is. Uptime there -2 minutes. You know, that's good, you know.
That makes sense.
Nice.
It makes a lot of sense. You know, we're definitely on point there in terms of we're actually early. We're ahead of time here, for sure.
Wait a second, I'm confused. Hold on, something's weird. I'm looking at Discord.
Okay.
And I'm looking at your stream.
Yep.
And you have 2 cameras?
Yes.
Wow.
It's one so we can see him, and one so the stream can see him.
Indeed.
The production value.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we got that multi-perspective gaming right there, dude. Okay, some quality stuff right there. Yeah, dude. It's some quality. We you know things have moved on a little bit, you know. But yeah, an expansion and. Honestly, I did always think this was coming, right? I think a lot of us thought this was inevitable to a certain extent, right?
I predicted. Okay, so I went on Hosts of Ascalon. Fantastic podcast, by the way. Everybody should go see it. Hosts of Ascalon for early 2019. We were doing a prediction what's going to happen in 2019, and I did say there was going to be a 2019 announcement for an expansion, like halfway through the season or at the start of the season of Icebreed Saga. I was wrong because it came in 2020, but yeah.
I mean, we are basically halfway through the saga anyway, so
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, we're already underway, and I imagine that the saga will have to finish before we get the expansion. But that's kind of interesting, actually, because that almost gives you a kind of a little bit of a date to think about, because you know our current trajectory, I think, was supposed to be done by the start of next year, right? Right at the beginning of 2021, and that means that I mean, do we just go straight into the expansion from there? I think that's almost quite likely that they just go, oh yeah, like we've got another huge amount of content to drop on top of that. And you know, when you actually put this on paper, we have not experienced anything like this, maybe ever, in Guild Wars 2, actually, because you know if we look at the expansions we've had and the circumstances under which we've received them, we've had Heart of Thorns and then Path of Fire, right? So Heart of Thorns, before that, you had the original Living Story stuff going on there, right? And that was, you know, I think, you know, hit and miss would be the word to describe it, right? There was some really good stuff in there, but also some episodes where, you know, you're just putting up signs, right? That's kind of what was going on there. Now I think we have...
Well, if you have content every 2 weeks, you're going to have hit and miss, I think.
Yeah, of course, right? But this time now we have we've got more well-rounded stuff. We've got visions of the past. We've actually got bi-monthly releases by the looks of this. And also maybe other stuff coming in there as well. PvP is being handled with a little bit of care instead of being a complete irrelevant afterthought. World versus world, yeah, it's getting there. You know, maybe eventually it will get promoted from, you know, like something we don't talk about, something that can actually make it in the public discourse. But like the actual health of the game,
2025.
Yeah. Well, alliances, I mean, it might come in the expansion now, is what I'm thinking, because
Yeah.
didn't factions bring alliance battles? Guild Wars
Exactly.
factions?
I've been kind of thinking the same thing, that maybe they're holding off this system until sometime later. But at the same time, I actually say that might be a bit of a mistake. Who knows though?
Well, I
mean-
think probably, like, again, we're all of this is all conjecture because we know nothing about the inner workings of ArenaNet, but I have a feeling that they were gonna try to put it as like an in between Icebrood Saga thing. They're gonna put it at some point in between, maybe in the summer. Maybe it's still gonna happen, but I think that maybe the sales figures for or like the income for ArenaNet during Icebrood Saga thus far encourage them to go back to making a new expansion, and they're gonna put it now in the expansion instead of during Icebrood Saga. You know what I
I
mean?
think there's a lot of, yeah, and I know exactly what you mean. I think there's a lot of factors though, a lot more factors than just the sales numbers in terms of the. Well, I
Oh,
mean,
for sure.
obviously that's that's the biggest one, but um, yeah, it seems kind of weird. There's a lot of speculations going about, obviously, as to when did they actually start this, why did they start this, and when is it coming out. I think those are like the three main questions that I'm curious for. Like, apart from what's it going to contain, who knows? Which we're going to debate a lot in a second, I guess. Um,
Yeah,
but
that's the
I
big
think
question, right?
I think there's an argument to be made, especially given a certain statement on Twitter yesterday about um, maybe the X Pack was started pretty close to right now, like not that long ago.
Oh,
I see a lot of people saying that, oh yeah, they've been working on this for at least a year. I don't actually know how, if that's
I don't know.
even remotely close to true. And so all of what I'm about to say is pure speculation. But honestly, it seems like a lot of the devs that left and might be coming back right now are coming back because they too see a future after what ArenaNet has changed internally after the layoffs. I think that because of the layoffs, they changed direction for an expansion because they had no future product. And the only thing that they really could be working on, like to establish ArenaNet's groundwork for their employees, would be to make an expansion for the title that they already had out.
Maybe. I
They
think
they
that,
scrapped a lot of new things, and
well, we
they
know for sure that there is at ArenaNet currently another project going on that's not Guild Wars 2.
true. But how far out is that? That's the question.
I have no clue.
Apparently, it seems like it's so far out that ArenaNet has to bank on something else. Because now we're back on the sales figure argument. Like, it's really low. It's been really low for a long time, and it's lower than it's ever really been. And they have to push out
Well,
something, otherwise
I
they
think
can't continue to
that's
work
it.
on
That's
the
it. Like,
title
I don't
that's in
think
the
it's
background.
like whether or not they need something else to bank on. I think, like, no matter what, they're going to do everything they can to make Guild Wars 2 as good of a game and as healthy of a game as possible. So I think that's now what the calculus is, that an expansion is the way to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy they're doing it. I'm really happy that they turned their ship around and focused on Guild Wars 2 again. But yeah, I don't believe that this was their initial idea, and I think that it's only
So
within
did
the
you think
last
that
6
after
months
Icebrood
that it's
Saga, if it like they had steadier sales figures, steadier player figures because of Icebrood Saga being maybe slightly slightly stronger version of Living World. Do you think that if it had increased general sales figures and player figures, that they would have done another season instead of an expansion afterwards?
I kind of doubt it.
then they would just put a bow on it. Like, that's it.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of doubt there was going to be anything after Icebrood Saga. I think season 4 was at one point supposed to be the end of it, and then they were like, all right, let's keep going, and they went for Icebrood Saga. And I think after that, they didn't really know what to do, maybe.
Wait a
And
second. You think that they were going
at
to
the
end
start of the
Guild
saga,
Wars
yeah,
before Icebrood Saga?
No. Yeah, well, yeah. At one point, they definitely were.
Oh yeah.
What?
Season
Look at the end.
4
Look
was
at the
definitely
ending.
supposed to be
Yeah,
the end.
dude. Look at the ending of
This was
season
like
4, dude. Holy
this
shit.
is the entire
Yeah,
climax
yeah.
of all of Guild Wars 2. Everything that's building up to ever since the launch of the game and the new rising star in Ara and everything.
But there's so many unanswered
something
questions and so many unanswered things.
There's always going to be. Guild Wars 2 or Guild Wars 1 has a lot of unanswered questions. A myriad of other games has a lot of unanswered questions. We can't expect for them to answer every single question before they wrap this up. I did genuinely believe that at the end of season 4, there was a likelihood that it was going to end, but they kept going with it.
Yeah, well, and maybe not a likelihood, but definitely a possibility. And we saw.
Oh, yeah.
Do you? I mean, are you? Yeah, you know. Well, it just keeps coming up, guys. It's just so relevant all the time. But you know, your favorite developer essentially tweeted out stuff to this effect, right? Essentially
Exactly.
that
they didn't know if it was going to be the end, so they were kind of
made it a little bit open ended, but also it could also be a bit of a satisfying ending there as well. You know, everyone sails off into the sunset, literally, right? You know, kind of pan up, roll credits, right? Yeah, it was definitely a possibility, I think there, and they were definitely thinking of moving on to other stuff. With that stuff.
Teodo.
Okay.
So it is the culmination of the Aurora Arene saga, essentially. The Arene saga only started with Heart of Thorns, right?
Well, the Dragon Saga started a long time ago. Remember how back when the game came out, maybe this is too obscure of a lore theory, but there was a lot of theories that there was going to be another dragon, because in Ara there's this like you can look through the telescope and you see the star in the sky, and the stars in the skies represent all the different dragons, and it was like a black hole trying to converge into something substantial, which was building up to Arene, maybe. So who knows? We've never had that confirmed.
It was season 2, but the season 2 was the lead up season to Heart of Thorns. So it was like season 2 was when they started doing the Heart of Thorns story.
Yeah.
And then did Heart of Thorns, and that was so the Arene saga has been ever since season 2. Season 1, I guess, was something different. I don't know if that's like I agree that the Arene saga is epic in itself, but I don't know if the Arene saga is the story of Guild Wars 2.
But if the Arene saga isn't the story of Guild Wars 2, then what is? The Arene saga is about, I mean, if we're just talking in general terms, then you can make so many different games and cut-offs. Like
I mean, it has been the majority of Guild Wars 2. It's true, but it's
the
not.
story of Guild Wars 2, as we've gone through it, is just dragons. And Arene.
Someone just said Egg is season 1, and I don't know how that's possible.
Well, they were kind of building up to it at the very end. The Sephirites.
Yeah, and they had it. Yeah. It was like the very the groundwork, as it were, was there from season 1. But if you think about it, like the end of the Arene saga could have potentially ended Guild Wars 2 as well, because at that point, for all you know, like Jormag is still having a nice snooze along with Primordus. You know, and the Sea Dragon is like, who knows what's going on there,
you can
right?
Do GW3 with the remaining dragons.
Yeah,
I mean, if you want to do that.
I still maintain that, and this has been since, I don't know, 2015, it's next we're going to Cantha, and then it's Guild Wars in Space. I don't know if that's going to be Guild Wars 3 or what, but it's Guild Wars in Space after Cantha.
Yeah.
Guild Wars in Space!
If there's ever
it's Into the Mist.
Or Into the Mist.
Yeah.
Well, I would say though that I do think. Wait, what's this, dude? Like what?
Teapot, stop! You fucking idiot.
Wait, what do you mean? Look! What the fuck is Deroir doing here? Didn't he rage quit the game? Question mark.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Deroir hard quit Guild Wars 2. There you go.
I never did that, and I never said that. I guarantee you, Teapot, it's you who spread this shit.
Wait, it wasn't me. I didn't do that. That's like, I don't fucking say that shit. What do you mean?
You're joking about it.
Wait.
People take it
Comes
as
back
gospel.
with his tail in between his legs. Actually, is that your tail in between your legs, or are you just happy to see me?
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
But I know I think ArenaNet they probably always had at least some contingency plans. I think that I would think they've actually been working on this for a while, and I know this is
I think
new.
it's been 6 months.
I know this is new ArenaNet, right? And obviously they're a bit more into communication these days, which is always a good thing. But I think that they still wouldn't mention the expansion word unless they had something pretty goddamn cast iron, right?
Yeah, no, for sure, it's happening.
Yeah, I think they've been working on this for maybe longer than you might think. Actually, I think this is, I think because they never really stopped developing Guild Wars 2. They just had it a little bit on the back burner, right, for a while. So I think they've been on this for a while. So I'm really excited to see what they've got actually and the approach they're going to take, because the 2 expansions we've had have almost been 2 extremes, right? You've had Heart of Thorns, which was very about map metas, kind of group focused content, and then you had the exact opposite of that with Path of Fire, which is very kind of story theme driven, single player game driven as well. So I am really curious to see what kind of content they're actually planning on adding with the expansion. Actually.
Well, with Cantha, since it's an island in of itself, you have a lot of options, right? You can try to bring in new players because I think we're done with new classes, right? With new professions. We have the 9 professions, 3 of each armor class. I think that's a complete set.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're probably going to get new elite specializations for each one because the game is designed that way. But on top of that, very possibly to encourage new players coming in, they might add a new race. And Cantha would be the best place to introduce that race.
That is true. Yeah. I mean, this is like the big question, right? This is the big question, because how are you going to get people to play your expansion and to come back to Guild Wars 2 and make Guild Wars 2 look alive? One way they're going to do it is elite specializations, right? Which is kind of like new classes in a way. And hopefully they market it as such. I think a lot of people, if you're not a non-Guild Wars 2 player, you're going to look like, what's an elite specialization, right? But like, it's in a way, it absolutely is a new class to a certain extent. Like to a lot of other players from other MMOs would understand that as a new class, and a new race is the other thing. Like people love a new type of character, a new way to experience the game with new lore and that sort of thing. And if they could do it, I think they will. If they can, they will. To be honest,
but it's also that Guild Wars 2 as a game is so well designed to introduce a new race, because the fact that you can go in with other characters that are already level 80 and experience the same content because you get down leveled to the area that the new area, for example, that the new race is joining in, it just like encourages you to do that, right? Like there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to do that.
Yep, that it is very good. It's very alt friendly, yeah, 100%, right? It is very much that way. But I hate to be the party pooper here, but like we know what ArenaNet is like, and maybe it was older ArenaNet that had all these issues, like 9 months for an armor set, legendary armor 1 year twice. Maybe that is a thing of the past. I mean, I want to believe, right? But do they really want to make all of their problems 20% worse by adding a 6th race? I'm just not.
Well, what about a race is harder? Like,
well, because then
you have to design one more armor set every single time you put out a new one.
Well, yes, there's going to be a lot of clipping, probably.
Yeah,
there's going to be a lot of clipping, but you could do it on the same frame as a current race already.
Oh,
like you could make.
They couldn't get away with that. You can't get away with that.
You can't just slap char armor on. No, I mean people barely even let them survive the whole clipping with chars. I mean, it took years for people to just be like, "Oh yeah, that's part of the."
But there you go. I mean, people lived with it for years, so people might live with it for years again.
People are still pissed about it.
I don't know, dude.
Imagine as well, because like I guess it's a question of like how ambitious are ArenaNet going to be with adding a new race. I'm not saying that it won't happen, but there's a lot of factors to consider. There's all the previous armors. There's all the voice acting. There's a lot of different things that you have to
they're gonna have to
consider.
do voice acting anyway.
But are they going to do hundreds of hours through season 2, 3, 4, and core?
Probably what they're gonna do is not like you make a new race in Cantha. That's your homeland. You have a story. It's a new story in Cantha for that race, and you don't have to do the original one.
Yeah, and that kind of introduces another problem there as well, right? Like you'd have to read
a lot of content.
Exactly, you have to, and that's not even the end game, right? Like, that's a lot of essentially single playthrough content that you're adding to your expansion. That isn't even a part of the main storyline as such. Although you could,
which is what we're trying to go away from.
The main storyline is single playthrough content as well.
Yeah, but that's why we're trying to go away from that with strike missions.
Oh yes, so strike missions. So you're saying the new expansion should just be strike missions?
Nothing but strike missions. Yeah,
all the way through.
Yeah,
actually, that wouldn't be too bad. But okay, so let's assume just for the sake of it that they're not doing the previous armors and they're not doing the previous seasons and core voice lines. They're only doing new stuff for a new race. How enticing would that actually be for a new player that comes into the game? Because like as a veteran, I would absolutely love it.
Very enticing.
I would fucking love it.
Race, start at the same level as everybody else,
and then you're told that
once you're done with that race, 90%. You make a new character with the old stuff.
Yeah, but then you're told that 90% of the rewards in the game are inaccessible to the character that you pick.
Wait, 90%? What are you talking about?
The armors. It's all about skins. If they're not
be available,
if they're not doing the old armor sets, if they're not converting all the old armor sets to the new race, because it's an insane amount of work, dude.
I mean,
you are asking for them to make
the body exactly the same as a char,
2 map expansion,
exactly the same as a char,
and then every other dev is focused on making the armors for Tengu.
The only thing difference is the face.
They can't do it.
Dude, no way.
If they use the same animation, like the same rigging, for let's say they add Tengu, right, which they're a bit similar to Char in certain ways, aren't they? Right, with apparently some of the animations and stuff like that. Like, imagine if they actually did that. Like, think how badly that they would get annihilated for it, right? Maybe unjustifiably. I grant you, right? Like, it might be unjustifiable to say, like, oh, wow, look how lazy ArenaNet are, right? Like, they're reusing assets. How could they, right? But they would get obliterated if they ended up doing that, right? There is absolutely no way they would reuse assets for Tengu. They would do it all from scratch. Like 100%.
I think just in general, cutting any corners for a new race, there is going to be a vast majority of players who will not accept that.
Yeah.
I mean, hold on a second. Someone says they want Largos, and that would be a lot easier.
Oh yeah, it would just be humans with
wings.
Yeah,
blue skin. You've already got those. You can get like a Lagos back piece, dude. So
yeah, that's already in the game.
But that is how you blend in and like infiltrate the Largos home base. You buy the backpack.
Yeah, and then boom, you're a Lagos immediately.
Man.
Yeah, that's a big pay to win right there, dude. You know, that's good. Yeah. Well, you can just grind gold for it as well. It's not pay to win. See, easy.
Exactly.
You can get it's the old gem store comes to the rescue once again, right? You know, gets the job done. Yeah,
Kodan I think would be the most difficult, unless they're on. Are they sort of a Norn body? Not really, eh?
What animations do they have?
I think they actually are full Norn.
Yeah.
There's some of the animations that aren't like some of the skill animations that aren't animated for Kodan. But there is the combat tonic. Like you can do whatever the fuck. But I think most of it is just Norn.
The issue I have with the Kodan is that they all I mean, maybe this is mean to say, but they all kind of look the same. I don't know how much.
Well, yeah, they do. Have you ever seen their face? Have you ever zoomed in on their face? They actually look really. Special.
Whoa.
Is the word I'm going to use.
Whoa. What are you trying to say there, buddy?
They're not that detailed.
Okay. All right,
I'm trying to say.
Yeah, some
they're very generic, and it's all of them. They all look identical.
I feel like the problem, with the Kodan, the problem is ArenaNet will have to like really push some boundaries and get really inventive with how to get people to have different Kodan that look different from each other. Like lots of scars. I mean, noses that are longer than others. I'm not sure.
So, well, just on the whole, the new race thing, I actually think it is pretty unlikely. I do grant you that it would be a really big selling point, actually, but I personally don't see it. I do think though that elite specializations are one of the things that Living Story. In fact, I would say it's the only thing that Living Story hasn't delivered on, right? I am actually a bit of a Living Story white knight to a certain extent. Like, the way I look at an expansion is basically 8 episodes of Living Story that drops all at the same time. That's basically how it is, I think. I actually agree with ArenaNet on Living World. I actually think it's a really good idea if it was executed well. And to be honest, maybe right now they're executing it well enough. But hey, I'll take an expansion on top of that, right? Because it looks like, and this is what I was alluding to before, right? Think how much content we're actually getting right now. We're getting a Living Story episode every 2 months, right? We're getting Visions of the Past mixed in there as well. You've got strike missions, a fractal with a CM coming as well.
It's true.
And we have an X-Pack.
Icebreach Saga and all the stuff that's coming with it is pretty strong compared to normal Living World. And also, the issue though is that I feel like with a 8-year-old game, X-Packs are kind of necessary, and it's you kind of could see it the way their income statements have been going, even with Icebreach Saga, because just the excitement. First of all, you get that nice little boost of revenue because you have to sell the X-Pack at the boxes, but also it drives more excitement, like,
of course, yeah.
It's a nice burst of excitement for everybody, and
I
think an 8-year-old game kind of needs it.
Definitely, like, in terms of like economically for the company, expansions make perfect sense, right? And they always will, because getting 8 times the content all in one go is always going to be more exciting than getting 1 times the content, but 8 times as often, right? It's always going to feel more exciting because you actually get to sink your teeth into it a little bit more. Like with like a Living World episode, or even Icebreach Saga, right? Well, perhaps even more so Icebreach Saga. That you'll be done with it pretty soon, right? Like, you won't get a crazy amount of time out of it, and that's fine. That's because, hey, they're releasing something every 2 months, right? With an expansion, there's going to be a lot of stuff to do, right? There's going to be like loads of new achievements, loads of new rewards to go for, maybe a new way to experience the game there as well, with specializations as well. And that just like, elite specs, like, to me, that's like the big one, dude. Okay, that is the biggest part of the expansion by far. And one of the things that will really set it apart from the content we're getting now is these new ways to play your current class, right? Like, you get a new weapon and new traits, all that sort of stuff there as well. So it's good.
Do you think that before they decided to make a 3rd expansion, after deciding they were going to do the 5th, do Icebreach Saga, do you think that they were considering putting elite specs inside Icebreach Saga in some way?
I want to say yes. I thought they were going to do it. I actually thought, because of Icebreach Saga, right, going from Season 4 into Season 5, I was expecting ArenaNet to commit, right, to Living Story. Right, I thought, okay, they're actually going to do Living Story, or do Guild Wars 3 or console game or whatever, right? Instead of that, like, the way I saw it, there are kind of 2 options. Well, there were 3 options, but like, I was like, yeah, they're going to do Guild Wars 3, they're going to commit to Living Story, or they're going to do an expansion. It turns out they're doing an expansion, but I was kind of expecting them to try and put elite specs, yeah. Because they were, in the Icebreach Saga announcement, you got Mike Z there hyping up, yeah, dude, we're doing expansion level content, man, yeah, dude. And the only thing they've never put in Living Story has been elite specs. Like, everything else has made it in, pretty much, except that. So I was expecting it, to a certain extent, but no, they're going with the expansion route, which is probably better, because what will be, the trouble with Living Story with elite specs. Okay,
is that they won't do it all at once?
Yeah, you have to wait like a year to get your elite spec for your main class, right? It's like, well, I'm so mad at ArenaNet, give me engineer, but then engineer is actually last, That's like, meme. Okay, so yeah, that's certainly an issue. Not release, if you don't get to release them all at once, I can certainly see people being upset with that, and ArenaNet perhaps not wanting to do that. But yeah, dude. Okay, elite fucking specs. Okay, listen. If they don't put elite specs in the game, I mean, what if they don't? Have we actually considered, what if they don't put elite specs?
That would be a travesty. I say then we should go back to the original point buy system for spec lines.
Nice.
Because to completely overhaul it just to add one more, like 2 elite specs instead of more, not cool, man. Not cool.
It would not be cool. It would be Big Phil's bad man. Oh my god. Yeah.
No, for sure they're going to.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, it's
They'd be crazy not to, right? Like, because that is the thing that really sets it apart from the content that you get normally within the game, right? Like, it's well, you get it all at once, and you get elite specs, and yeah, I think they kind of have to, even though they're probably really worried about balance at this point. Well, actually, are they? I don't know. Maybe CMC is worried. I'm not sure about the actual design team, but. If they didn't do that, not gonna look good, is it? Not releasing that when you've done it for the 2 previous ones, not good. And well, I think a big part of this expansion is they're trying to get the game back on track to fund their future endeavors, right? Because the quarterly updates, not encouraging. Okay, especially the last one. Ouch, not good. And you know, I think perhaps this is something that I've seen going around, and I definitely agree with it. Like this kind of very, very early announcement, right, with a very small piece of concept art and no real details. I wouldn't be surprised if they announced this as a bit of a response to the poor
100%.
figures, right?
100%. And they definitely did it because this announcement, just the fact that we're so interested and everybody else is so interested, it's gonna boost people's activity in Icebrood Saga. People are going to be playing that more and be in the game now because we have something to look forward to, right?
Yeah, the main problem that people have been putting forth is there a future in this game? And the answer now is yes.
Yeah.
But we didn't know that. Like every single time anyone's been talking about Icebrood Saga, it's about what comes after this. Is this just like a slow walk towards the end? I mean, which it is, but just everything is slow.
Again, it's not. We got Cantha coming, and then Guild Wars in space. You always have Guild Wars in space to look forward to. Don't worry.
Yeah, you always.
I mean, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I'll be happy even if this is the last expansion. I'll be, overjoyous. That's all I ever wished for was an X-Pack 3 at least for Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for Cantha.
I will not complain if they move on from there on.
I think it's in our interest that they actually do as well. I mean, Guild Wars 2.
Is it though?
Yeah, no, I think it is. I mean, yeah. Well,
I guess
it depends.
Not for me. I'll be out.
Wait, I mean,
that's kind of the thing.
Well, I mean, no, seriously. Let me explain it. Like, to be honest, I think right now we actually do live in probably the optimal timeline, because if ArenaNet released Guild Wars 3 instead of this expansion, nobody would fucking trust them, right? And there probably wouldn't be very much hype around the game. Like, the path ArenaNet is on right now is actually you got fucking Avengers Endgame, right? You know the Doctor Strange shit, the 1 in 14 million? Yeah, this is it, right? Like, they're on that path right now, like, because they have somehow managed to turn a clusterfuck of misfortune into something good here, right? They are on the redemption arc right now. They're doing a great job of communicating. Like, somehow they've gone from zero communication, absolutely no fucking energy or hype around the game, to, oh shit, we're fixing PvP, we're getting quarterly updates with cool little graphics, we're announcing an expansion, we're releasing content every 2 months, we're adding bonus content now outside of our normal releases, which is completely unprecedented, by the way, right? With stuff like Visions of the Past there as well. And hey, maybe it's not your type of content, but they're doing something, right? They're on the redemption arc to people actually trusting them again. Then they release the expansion, okay? And this is where things get a little bit tenuous. It's gotta be good. It has to be fucking good. It has to be really good, okay? And then, when it's really good, then they can move on to saying like Guild Wars 3. They conclude the story, and maybe they do another living story after this. I'm not sure if they'll be able to wrap up the entire game in an expansion. I would not be surprised to see another living story episode after this, right? To kind of conclude
game will
stuff.
Continue after the expansion.
Oh well, I'm just talking about the timeline where they use this to like springboard into another venture. Right?
Okay.
And I think that is I will defend that this is actually our optimal path. If they manage to springboard into, say, Guild Wars 3, which would be the ideal dream, like another MMORPG. I mean, I would certainly play their single player game, right? But I mean, it's a single player
I have
game.
a
You know,
question.
it's over after you beat it. But yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry.
I have
go
a
ahead.
question about Guild Wars 3. What? Why do we need Guild Wars 3? Like, what improvements will Guild Wars 3 bring that Guild Wars 2 can't provide?
Just a new engine, I guess.
I think that's that.
I mean, that's
ultimately
really
that's
the only selling point for upgrading to a new thing.
That's the crux of it ultimately. But yeah, it will give them more design space, right? Like I think they're very limited by Guild Wars 2, right? I mean, look, I hate to kind of, you know, kind of tweak on this a little bit, but you know, look at Swiss, look at alliances, right? They're obviously very limited in what they can do by some of these systems. Like, have you tried to spectate ATs, Boots? Okay, it doesn't fucking work. Okay, like the Swiss AT, it's scuffed, right? I mean, you know what I mean? It's
a better engine.
It's better engine, and also I think like a fresh point to start over in design. Like I do kind of like some new stuff, right? I want to see a fresh approach. Let's see what they would come up with another time as well. I think it could be really, really interesting. I mean, Guild Wars 2 is an excellent game, and even now with all of its issues, I still think it's like the best MMORPG that you can play. Certainly on a mechanical basis, it's just the most fun inherently to play, right? And I definitely think that, you know, I would love to see some like character transfers over there, so you can almost like transfer a lot of your stuff over, so you don't like have your progression reset. But honestly, I would kind of like my progression reset actually. Like, and I know I'm a little bit of a weirdo in the MMO community, but honestly, like one of the biggest issues with Guild Wars 2 for me is that everything I could possibly want in the game is like trivial to get for me, right? Like anything they could possibly add, I already have because of how much convenience I have accumulated over the years.
So what
right?
you want is just a hard reset. You just want a new game, don't you? That's kind of the thing.
Yeah,
right?
sure. Yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, don't get me wrong. I really like Guild Wars 2, and you know, I really like this game a lot. It's fantastic, and I will never quit it until they shut the servers down, right? Okay, and even then, I will go to Seattle, I will break in and steal the servers, and then I'll run a pirate operation in the middle of the ocean, right? Easy. He says, well, not having Fractal... Wait, why are you saying that to me? I have Fractal God. Why would...
There's so many Papegas in chat today. Don't even...
Why would you... That's not true. I do have Fractal God.
Yeah, but you don't have a character in the Fractals.
That's true. I don't. But I'm in the PvP lobby. So I've got that going.
Yeah, true enough.
Easy. I'm in, dude.
And I am on every single character.
Yeah.
Nice. Boots.
Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. You've got the fattest reference out of any partner, dude. You're on literally every character, right? Yeah.
They just spelled your name wrong.
Yeah, I know.
Like everyone else.
Does. It's fine.
Oh my god. But yeah, it's I don't know. Like I would definitely like a new game just because I think they could just do a lot more with it. Especially with new ArenaNet. I think new ArenaNet is fresh. They're going big. They're going hard. I'm ready for the energy. You know, it's gonna be good. You know,
the energy is strong. Yeah. I've also seen like there's people coming back to the company now too.
Yeah. Quite a few.
They're you know they're rehiring all the stuff. It's very good. You know, I think ArenaNet is actually finally on the redemption arc that they have needed for such a long time.
Yeah. So okay. So you say Gantha Guild Wars. The third expansion has to be great. That's what you're saying. I agree. What would make it great? Tell me exactly what we need in that expansion for it to be perfect.
Perfect? Ooh, perfect. That's a big expectation right there. We're not going to get a perfect expansion, but I'm fine with that.
We're floating all our ideas. What'll make this a great expansion?
And I think one thing they really need to nail, which they haven't done an amazing job of in a lot of their other expansions, is you should not be done with the expansion immediately. And HOT did this pretty well, but honestly, I think they could have done it better. And Path of Fire failed.
What do you mean by done? What do you mean by done?
I think they need to launch with essentially instance content and probably something to do with PvP immediately or within a few weeks.
So you're saying an X pack with end game content?
Correct.
What?
Yes, it needs to release. It needs to release with end game content on release. I would.
Oh, so it's gotta need like Stronghold or something in it.
I would like to see a new PvP map, not necessarily a new PvP mode, because that's probably pushing it.
Just a map?
Yeah, look, I mean, I don't know, dude. Like, they aren't gonna add another.
I see a mode coming. I see 15v15 coming.
Definitely. I mean, if we're really dreaming about PvP stuff, I'd love to have an open world PvP area, like an actual faction. War zone. I would love to see that. Honestly, that would be the fucking coolest shit ever. To have just like world versus world dropped in, only 2 sides, just have the Kursic and the Luxons.
Yeah.
And they're battling it out.
That would be fat. That would actually be fat.
That would be the most amazing thing.
My god. That would be good.
Battling for the dankest rewards. Yeah. And then everywhere else you can, regardless of which faction you are, you can interact. And but yeah, I kind of really want to see that. I want to see those alliance battles actually happen there, or faction battles actually happen.
Faction? Faction. Okay.
But you're gonna have
faction battles.
You're gonna have a lot of Reddit posts about that, though, dude. You know, I was just trying to do my dailies, and someone killed me. You know, that's
Well, okay, hold on. Is the Jade Sea still Jade? No, right? It's
ocean.
Is it all ocean, or is it slowly turning back into ocean?
Well, we don't know. We haven't heard anything from Kantha so far. So
just for content purposes, I think they would probably keep it as slowly turning back. I think that's a more interesting setting, right? If it's like halfway there, I think that's a really cool setting to have. Yeah. Like, it's same with the forest as well.
Pirate battles on the Jade Sea.
Boats. Yeah. Boat mastery, boys. Boat mastery. There you go.
Mastery.
I mean, I know a lot of people have talked about it. I think we've actually talked about the siege turtle here as well, haven't we?
Yes.
I think Boots was actually one of the first people that was talking about the siege turtle.
For sure, I was.
If I remember that, like
turtles,
way
turtles all the way down in Canada.
Turtles all the way down.
All the way down, dude.
Amazing. I could definitely see like a 2-player turtle with like a cannon on the back.
Absolutely, or more.
That would be amazing. I mean, what we're getting right now with like the next the Visions of the Past thing is like the tank thing, and we can only assume that's a rideable thing, right?
Yeah,
we're gonna have to be controlling a tank. Maybe that's kind of a precursor to what might come later on. Who knows?
I see new mounts definitely in the new expansion. You get siege turtle and then a sea turtle, because we don't have an underwater mount yet.
So you would split those two?
I would split those two, because the siege turtle's too unwieldy for underwater. I guess you could kind of
go but like that's 2 turtles then. Turtles all the way down.
Turtles all the way down, and maybe we have a flying turtle.
Flying.
Yeah, I could definitely see a turtle. Just if we're going with just like one turtle thing, maybe underwater it like drops off the other player and it's only one player, but it's like 200% speed.
Yeah,
and then on land it's like 50% speed of what like normal players, and it's super slow. But you can 2-player it and have a cannon. Imagine, holy shit, that would be so amazing.
I kind of feel like they're actually going to design the maps in the expansion around maybe being not so cheesable with mounts, because I think that
how would you do that?
I'm to be honest, I'm not entirely sure, but I think they would try.
They have to try, but also because the Jade Sea exists and because it will probably contain a lot of water on this island, they have to have an underwater mount. But
are they going to do it in the expansion? I think there is actually an argument in my mind to be made for there not being a single mount available with the expansion, even though I think it's the wrong decision, and I think they should actually do mounts and maybe another thing. I think mounts are the ultimate selling point for an expansion in that case, if they're not going for like a race or other whatever.
Dude, you know what?
Because the alternative
is player housing.
Alternative is
player
stupid. Like
housing. Dude.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's some stupid like player housing or fishing or.
People love that shit.
Fishing maybe. Fishing as a new gathering thing, and then you could bring cooking up with the fishing and have like sushi and stuff like that.
But would that be an expansion selling point?
No, it would be.
I mean, it would be kind of like a cool thing,
But
added
player
thing.
housing, as much as I think it's a great idea, especially I think we talked about this when we were discussing if Cantha would ever come. Player housing would be a great idea, especially in some of the cities there in Cantha. It would be great to have like apartment buildings all over the place. But I don't know if they're able to. Like we've seen what they've been able to do with player housing so far with your home instance, with the Sun Spear refuge, and I think that it's too much to be added into this expansion. I think there's too much maintenance to be done with it. There's too much to player housing to be added to this game.
Look at the limitations that we have for guild halls and how horrible it is to actually design anything. Like, just if you are taking decorations and you're crafting a little house for yourself, the limitations are so horrendous that you really don't even want to engage with it in that way. And imagine if you kind of take that into explain. You can't put a lot of things close to each other, otherwise it just kind of tells you not to. You can't really scale objects, so you're looking at very limited sets of things. The whole decorating system is just kind of meh. And also, if you just take into consideration that most of Guild Wars 2 is outdoors, we don't really do a lot of roofs. Like, I just think it would be it would either be a huge instance of cool stuff, or it would be like a little nonsense thing that nobody would really be able to do anything cool with. I just think so.
We'll have to see what they end up doing if they show any technology, because in a way you could have Eye of the North almost being like a practice run for this stuff. They could be testing the waters to see how people react to it, if they like it or not.
Okay, well, what do you think Eye of the North is going to be?
Well, I mean, they're going to add like all the crafting memes, maybe some other little convenience.
Isn't that just going to be another silver waste?
Well,
that's exactly what I expected.
It's going to be instance, isn't it? Like, it's going to be like
There's going to be, but how do you make it instance? Like, you still have to have. So the thing that makes me think it's not instance is there's a portal for your entire squad in the center of it all. You have to be able to gather up with people, right? Easily.
Well, yeah.
Right.
This is why this is so puzzling, right? I almost wonder that there's probably two versions of it. I reckon the entire thing will be instanced, or maybe they're using phasing, so you upgrade it and then only you can see the upgrades. That would be. Can they do that? I mean, they can do that. They did it with Braham, right? In the new map, in the new story, they have this phasing technology now, so that you can only you can see something, or only if you've unlocked it, that sort of thing, and then you can still have it as a public instance instead of having it as, your own personal little thing with no one else inside of it, right?
I think we're blowing it up to more than it really is. Because the thing is, like, if you make it a free hub that's upgradable with all the different features and more to it, you're essentially just making all of the VIP areas obsolete, and that's the last thing ArenaNet wants to do when what they're trying to do is make more money.
Doesn't every new VIP area just make the old one obsolete anyway?
Well, no, actually. Some of them are kind of exclusive. The World vs. World one doesn't have a fractal instance.
True, but all the ones before the fractal one are
they were all identical and not innovative in any way. Yeah, because there's a new dev who was like, oh, what if we actually do replace what people want in there? And then everyone went for that. Yeah. And the one after that was the World vs. World one, which was also a success because it was what people wanted.
So what I'm saying is that I don't think ArenaNet is scared about making older things obsolete in that way. So
no, but they might be very scared of making an in-game thing more
than the gem store,
than the gem store thing.
No, that's definitely the case. Dude, they do this all the time. Look at the skins they add into the game. What were those weapons? Like, were they called the mystic weapons? Is that what they were called?
The fucking glowing, basically the legendary
the
version
legendary
of,
weapons, like an entire set of borderline legendary weapons they released, right? Yeah, like they do this all the time. Like they always want to try and make the the gem store stuff like very, very good, like this is not anything super new. They'll always try and avoid obsoleting stuff that's in the gem store, because then they won't sell it, right?
So if we assume if we assume that to be the case, then all I'm expecting from the Eye of the North is for it to be like there's going to be a vendor or a merchant that allows you to buy the upgrades for your instance the exact same way that Silver Waste has done it for years. But this is just going to be more extensive than Silver Waste because it has crafting stations as well. We all already know that.
Okay.
I think that's about the extent of it.
The player,
which is fine.
The player housing thing stands firm, though, dude. Okay, but no, actually, sorry, you finish your big brain.
No, it's all
fuck.
God
damn it! But
what have you done?
Player housing, the Guild Wars 2 community is ripe for player housing, dude. Okay, they are ripe to be milked by player housing, and you know that. I know that,
true,
and you know that. Okay,
I don't.
Their udders are ready,
dude. I still don't want it to happen. I really don't.
As much as I think it's a great idea, I think it's too much because they have to put a new race in, and I'm standing firm on that.
Dude,
that's already a lot of work.
They're not putting a fucking new race, dude. Like.
So yeah, I mean, it's too much work. They put both of them in.
Let's rewind it a bit past all the player housing stuff.
Okay.
What I would most like to see in X-Pac 3 is guild-oriented content, guild-oriented rewards, guild-oriented everything. I want a Guild Wars 2 factions expansion, a Cantha expansion to be centered around playing with your guild.
Will guilds have to align with either Luxon or Kurzik?
Yes. Alliance system, integrate it all into that, and also let there be different like faction-based strike missions where you unlock different things. Let there be exclusivity. Let there be a faction currency for your guild that you can also get.
Yeah.
Since
you're allowed to be in 5 different guilds, you could just switch back to Lux and Kurzik whenever. Have one guild that's in Lux and one guild that's in Kurzik, and maybe there's going to be a third faction. Maybe there's going to be like the Emperor's faction essentially, and
yeah.
I
would love to see just that. If X-Pac 3 is centered around guild content, playing strikes with your guild, playing the open world PvP map, world versus world map with your guild, gaining faction points with your guild, building
Guild Wars back in Guild Wars.
Yeah, building faction what's it called? Affiliation with your guild. Actually making it so that guilds are the way to go. That would be the kicker.
Noxie's asking, isn't the Kurziks and the Luxons non-existent in the current timeline, though?
We technically don't know, I guess.
It's 250 years since then.
I mean, I guess we could still have a similar kind of situation where the factions have merged into something different. I mean,
to be honest, if we're going back to Cantha, it's just going to be a huge nostalgia trip for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people would be disappointed if we didn't have Kurzik nostalgia and Luxon nostalgia in it. And I think that's probably, they're going to add it in somehow.
The buildings and the areas are always going to be there. So there's always going to be that nostalgia thing. The question is the faction itself going to be there? Because like the history is still going to be there. They can't really take that away, right? That would be stupid at least.
Yeah, it will be there in some form or another. I'd be pretty surprised.
They can completely cull the faction system away and just let it be a blank slate, I guess, and then it's just the commander and all of his boys.
The boys
doing shit in Cantha.
So here we go. Someone says, "I want Cantha to be completely taken over by a dragon." I love these highlighted things, by the way.
They're good, right? It's good value.
Yeah. Good value. Everybody, if you want your questions to be read.
380 points. You got to get those channel points going on there.
Yeah. So let's talk about how we think we're gonna get to Cantha. Okay, and what the
A
story
portal.
leading us there is gonna be.
Oh, right. Okay.
So we are the only thing we know about it so far is Cantha is being held by sort of an iron fist by the government, right?
Yes,
And
the Emperor.
there's a embargo going on between the rest of Tyria and Cantha. Nobody could get through. Um, on top of that, we know that there's a deep sea dragon somewhere. Hey, okay, well, holy crap, too many.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them now.
You unleashed
Yeah,
the
yeah.
380.
The
I
380s are now
said the
in the
only way
chat.
I'm going to read it is if you do it. I didn't say I'm going to read every single time you do it.
Well, you have to do it now, dude. You've committed now, my friend.
Okay, 380. Read me boots. 380s in chats. Give me those bloaty neck. Okay.
Yeah, no.
All right.
Keep going with your train of thought.
Okay, and then also we know that the sea dragon is somewhere in that general area, maybe in between or currently there. Because the last time we saw a sea dragon was in Cantha with Kunavang, right?
Yep.
So the question is, what are the deep seas dragon's powers? Number one. The second question is, if the Canthans find a way themselves to kill the deep sea dragon, would that be really would that blow up Tyria because Oreen is not around to save it, suck up all the
My
power?
my theory for the longest time, actually before Oreen was a thing, was that the deep sea dragon was going to be the first good dragon, like well-intended dragon. And my
And now we
idea
have
was
Oreen.
that the emperor, yeah, now we have Oreen. My idea was that the emperor was going to try to take down the deep sea dragon because it's a danger to society and everything, and he doesn't understand its power. And the commander would then be like, "Oh, we have to stop the emperor from doing this because otherwise it all
That is
blows up."
definitely what I'd been thinking about for a long time too.
Now we're in a situation where the deep sea dragon doesn't have to be a good guy because we have Oreen, but we can still be in the
Stop him from
situation where
doing
we
that.
want to stop the emperor from killing the deep sea dragon.
So the big bad in the Canthan expansion might just be the Emperor and getting to him.
Yeah.
So a lot of
Which would be
internal politics.
that would definitely be the better way to go about it, right? Because we've always had this issue. Now not so much as earlier, but where the dragons don't really have any personality. Jormak has a lot of personality now. Krakatori got a lot of personality. But remember earlier on where we were always talking about how these like giant dragons, we can't really relate to them. They're kind of bad villains. It's a lot easier for them to do like a bad emperor kind of storyline and then build on from that. I can definitely imagine that. And then you have this like looming threat in the background, the deep sea dragon doing bad stuff and being bad. I don't know.
Yeah. So what are the powers of the deep sea dragon? That's a big question.
Water.
Right? Do they
Water.
so far every dragon has been able to essentially corrupt people, right? Except for Primordus kind of, what does he do? Does he corrupt people?
I mean,
Kind
no,
of.
he just creates
Who knows?
lava destroyers.
Yeah.
So I guess we could imagine that the deep sea dragon just creates water destroyers.
But no, we know that's not really
Or-
true because like the Largos and like the
it will.
what are they called?
The dragon
The crate.
will force the entire population of Tyria to play nothing but Water Weaver. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone
that's
is
gonna be a
forced
long
to play
fight.
Water Weaver.
Stoneheart Water Weaver.
Every 2v2 will go to timer every single game.
And the water Stoneheart Weaver is going to win every single time because they got all that barrier and don't get crit.
But they're also against other
but
waters.
everyone's
Yeah, but
playing
everyone's
it,
playing
so-
it, yeah.
Oh,
So
no.
what even happens there?
Oh, right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Not good.
Right.
Where were we?
So,
Oh, yeah. Okay, so powers of the deep sea dragon. What if mind control powers, but infiltrating mind control powers?
Mind control powers.
Yeah. But like really, like not just proximity based, but like really dispersed. You get a little incendiary parasite in you, and you go all over the
Ooh.
place. You could
Oh shit.
like yeah. So they could be
plague.
controlling some advisors of the emperor or something, and nobody really knows. And you could also have some of them coming over by boat over here, and you have to find. That's how we first find out about it. Either E tells us and says, "Go to Kantha, it is time,"
Yeah, no, E is dead, dude.
or
E is
or
dead.
we find some people acting very strangely, and then we figure out what's going on, and we have to go over there and try to save everybody.
It's definitely quite the conundrum, isn't it? Like, I'm a little bit worried they're gonna just cheese it, and not Glint, but Aurine's gonna say, hey, at the end of the Ice Road Saga, she's gonna be like, yeah, dude, you know, I flew over there a while back. Like, guys, shit's getting real. You gotta get over there right now.
She doesn't even
know?
have to fly anymore. She's prophetic.
Uh-oh.
She can literally, for the rest of the game's story, she can be sitting in Eye of the North.
And just say,
Just
yeah, guys, like, I know what's gonna happen.
And
that's all good.
And I guess that's fine, right? It's like, oh yeah, I don't want to be in danger. I'll join you for the final fight. Peace out. You do all the pre-events.
Prophetic characters are so dangerous narratively, right? Because it's kind of like, you know, bad shit's gonna happen, right? And we go, Aurine, why didn't you warn us? Why didn't you tell us? You knew this was gonna happen. It's like, well, guys, you know, I gotta let you find out on your own. You know, it's no good.
The ways of the mist are really curious.
It's the same with the scrying pool, man. Okay, look, I don't want to get into this because, okay, the chat bullied me from my perspective on this, but I don't like the scrying pool. Like, the scrying pool is just like, oh my god. Think about it. Like, it's a
recipe for disaster.
Why would we not use it to find out literally everything? Right, like the only way they're gonna be able to spin it is like, oh yeah, you know, it's unpredictable. Like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's like, oh god, fucking damn it, dude. Like, scrying pool, like dragons that are, like, can see the future and shit. It's like, I don't know, dude. Like, this is not good. I just hope they don't make it too lazy. Although, to be honest, I actually don't care that much. I just care about the content. Just full disclosure there, guys. I just want my elite specs. I want my gaming. I don't really care how we get to Kantha. We just go hard, boys. Easy.
Yeah, I remember a lot of people at the very start of the Iceberg Saga speculating that the Deep Sea Dragon would be part of the Iceberg Saga, and I don't actually see that happening. I just don't. I think it's very, very likely that it's going to be part of the X-Spec. If at all, maybe we never actually just get to see the Deep Sea Dragon. That's also a situation. Maybe after the Iceberg Saga, everyone's asleep and everything's nice and calm, and the only issue is a political issue, and it's in Kantha. We're like, oh yeah, I'm a hero. Let's go save the day. And Aurine tells us there's bad stuff happening, and we go.
What if in 250 years they're now very technologically advanced and they have a spaceship?
Holy shit.
I mean, yeah. Honestly, yeah. The entire main city of the continent of Kantha, the Emperor's whatever, I forget what the city is called. It might actually be super highly intellectual and technological, and it could be a space city. Yeah.
Then again, we did just get a picture of it to tease us for Kantha, and it was still very
no. That was Xingji.
So, it has to be traditional. Yeah. It's gonna stay the same.
Xingji is like the island off the coast.
Yeah.
Which is
so
probably
you're saying like that's also quarantined.
Yeah.
What are they going to do with how professions have evolved? Are they going to have the exact same elementalists as us? Because, I mean,
no, of course not. That's why elite specialization come into play. That was basically how they did it in Path of Fire, right? They're like, oh yeah, in the Elonian Desert, we have evolved this and that.
Wouldn't it have diversified even more though, because of like how isolated the culture was though, to a certain extent? Like, what if they still have dual classing, dude? Like, because we forgot that. Like, we're too stupid for that. You know. I don't know. I'm really curious how they're actually going to handle that, because isn't it a little bit weird if they've got revenants? I presume they just wait, because how can they possibly? I don't know, dude. Like, well, actually, no. Revenant lore is weird, right? Okay.
Don't even go to Rev.
Yeah,
Revs are time-traveling entities that can be at any point in time and in any culture. Don't think about it. Don't go too hard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We just shouldn't even go there. You know, it's I guess the evolution of all the professions and stuff is a little bit. It's a bit.
I think Ridlock traveled to Kantha for like a split second during his travels in the mists. Is what happened.
Definitely. And they're
It
like,
planted the first seed of revenancy.
but
Boom.
how would they accept the Char for a second there? They're super racist in Kenta. Isn't that the whole premise of the country right now?
Or at least of the government, I think.
I mean, yeah, okay.
Would they act?
Yeah.
Okay, right. And I'm serious question here. I'm not memeing. Do you think ArenaNet would actually do that with like the China market as it is? Do you think they would actually do that in current year? And have like a really xenophobic culture in the expansion, with an with an obvious Asian theme, right? I mean, come on, dude. It's like...
I didn't actually consider that, the whole xenophobia and like, yeah,
imperialism. You know, I mean, I don't know about that one, dude.
Oh, I did not consider that.
Well, I mean, so that story isn't necessarily like a straight up thing for China, though. It's more. I think that particular story is more about when Japan back in the, was it the 1700s, they had like a hard stop of any visitors. So like that, I think maybe that's the case more than.
You mean like the US did right now? Oh wait, I'm just gonna.
Yeah, during the feudal era in Japan, I think they kind of yeah. So I think if, as long as it's more that, like if they do,
maybe it turns out that Winnie the Pooh is actually the good guy, and we're just kind of, I mean, we've completely misunderstood what was happening in Kanta, and the Emperor is actually good.
Well, I mean, just even think about back to like the winds. Just think about the winds of change shit, right? Weren't they like purging all the non-humans? I mean, with the Ministry of Purity, it's a little bit questionable, dude. Right? I mean, like,
let's not go there. Actually, honestly,
why isn't this in the game, dude? Like, yeah, it's literally you can go and play it right now. I mean,
wait, okay, I gotta make this. No.
Yeah. I guess I forgot a lot about Kanta.
Yeah.
The beautiful location.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Like, they're gonna see Azura, Sylvari, Char. I mean, they're not gonna be that happy. I mean, you know, they're gonna be like, "Whoa, what the hell are you guys doing here? Like, get the fuck out!" It's gonna be an interesting one, right? I think.
Yeah. So features for the X-Pack.
Yeah.
So I guess, I mean, if that's the case, if the story, so the story either goes two ways, right? Like, it either is we are there against the will of the government because they're still hard set on that rule, and we're trying to do stuff, infiltrating, I don't know, trying to build up a resistance, who knows. Or it goes completely the opposite way, and we are now allowed, they're stopping that that rule because they now need our help and are bringing us in to help the government do something about the dragon, maybe. Yeah, it's tough. It's one of the two.
That's a way to go with it. I mean, I would respect it a lot if they actually went just with a pretty rough story.
Yeah.
ArenaNet has never really shied away from like some of the touchy social subjects, but I guess they've never really gone political. I would respect it though. I would respect the hell out of it.
Political?
Well, not in the game.
I mean, they have a few, like quite a few like little side things are not the main direction of a story, but quite a few side things are pretty, you know, they try to be political in some ways.
Like what?
Like a lot of the stuff with Palawa Joko, if you talk to the people, it's a lot of indoctrination, a lot of stuff like that. 1984.
Yeah. Okay, point taken.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna go with some of all the gender debates or whatnot, which is not a political thing.
No, I wasn't gonna go with that.
No, okay, good.
Okay. Yeah, but Palawa Joko, for example, I know, like, as soon as you enter, what was it, Domain of Vabi, the guy, the person you're supposed to talk to the scout, talks about that kind of thing. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh right, the dredge actually, yeah, that as well.
Any
The dredge.
moles in the chat, guys? Any
the
moles
dredge
in
are
the
just
chat?
Russian moles.
Yeah. And they're also well, there's lots of lots of socialist jokes there as well, right? Like the moletariat, you know? That's some good shit right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's just very, I don't know, I guess American
Yeah.
to make fun of Russia, but yeah.
Well, I mean, with
Oh yeah, Metal Legion also has all of that Nazi propaganda.
yeah,
or, like,
like that
borderline Nazi propaganda.
that was like not very subtle at all, actually. The whole
No.
like Vanguard shit, like that is
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Maybe they've been a bit political. I see it.
Yeah, but well, like the thing is that like that's not very edgy, right? I'm not gonna lie, dude. Like it's not, you know, if they were gonna, I mean, if they were gonna criticize, you know, China, right? That would actually be pretty fucking edgy if you think about it, right? Like
exactly.
for a
The
big
rest of the world
corporation,
you kind of make fun of, but China does not want to be made fun of, like at all. They're
especially
going to
in a game that's sold in China.
Exactly, like
Yeah.
you know, even fucking Blizzard bends the knee, right? So
But maybe that's where the big drop in their revenue has come from, is China.
It would make some fucking headlines, man.
And maybe they're
you know?
just like, yeah, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, it would be some big headlines, I guess. So it's potentially, you know, some good content right there, I guess. But I don't know. Who knows? Who knows about that?
Yeah. Okay, so besides story, then we've got lead specs. We've got definitely they're doing a new race. We've all agreed. We've got possibly player housing, but I don't think so. What else? What else could we put in there?
I have a bit of a niche system that I would love to see. Faction skills.
New skills that you get if you're aligned to a faction or another.
New skills that you unlock through playing the different faction content. So like say that maybe there's like three Kursik and 3 Luxon. Let's go on the assumption that Kursik and Luxon still exist and they're well and good. We don't make it a mastery, we make it actual like
Slot
utility
skills,
skills.
Okay.
So you have one heal skill for each, and you have a utility and then an elite. And then all of these 3 are unlocked by harder and harder strike missions. Yeah.
And is it unlocked per character or per account?
It would. I mean, per character is what I want it to be, but who knows? Really, I'd love it to be like you have to do this strike mission, with your guild maybe, and unlock X amount of points to unlock this specific skill for your character. I would love that. Like actual like Guild Wars 2 skill unlocking. I know it's a bit like, or Guild Wars 1 skill unlocking. I know it's a bit niche.
So would these be unique per profession, or would they just be generic? You know, it doesn't matter what.
Make it generic. Make them generic so that they're like all professions can use the same skills, just to kind of make it easier to make, and also just spice them up, make them a little bit powerful in the open world. Make it like an
open world. Okay.
Yeah, only open world. No, don't make them accessible in PvP and World vs. World. Just kind of like niche, fun things, just like cultural skills, but like with factions.
It'd be some nice.
I'd love to see that.
It would be some cool flavor, but
yeah, but like maybe not all utility skills, but maybe just one.
No, just one,
or like one, like an elite skill.
They could, in theory, be good as well, right? Because everyone could use them, right? So, you know, because it wouldn't matter what race you were playing. You wouldn't have an issue where, you know, shit like what was the elite skill? Like the seed turrets were like really, really good. Yeah, it's just like not a problem anymore. Like summoning the seed turrets is not an issue, or like the hound as well, right? Like you don't, you know, if you want to play optimal Condi X, right? You don't have to be playing as Sylvari to get the seed turrets and the dog, right? So if it was faction-based skills, but what if you're on the wrong faction? Would you make them identical like in Guild Wars 1, but just with a different skin?
No.
But what if you're on the wrong faction?
Well, you gotta balance them, I guess.
But what?
I don't know.
That what?
Or I mean, there's gonna be a counter to them. I don't know. Maybe
but why do you need a counter when it's PvE?
Know. Let's say it's an elite, right? Let's say let's say the elite is like summon the spirit of the 2 heroes of the Kursik and the Luxon, right? And then
Okay.
either one of those is like a Revenant spirit or a Renegade spirit, which
Right.
just pulses some boons or whatnot. It does some cool shit. And obviously there's going to be a best in slot one, but you can't use it in PvP or World vs. World anyways.
So I have a question.
Who
Is
cares?
this a skill, an elite skill that you'll get, Luxon or Kurzik, that will make it would be the choice for people doing world bosses,
Yes.
metas?
Yes.
I'm for it. Just like everybody says, everybody slot this skill. Please just slot this skill and it'll help everybody.
So you
Then yeah, I'm for it.
I guess what you would do is then you would make it have like a really high target cap, but not actually be that good. So you would make it only good in like really big groups. Because the thing is, if you make something that's really good on a world boss that pulses out a shit ton of boons, that would be like god tier in raids, right, and strikes. So the way you'd have to do it is you have to make it kind of shitty in 10-man content, but really good in like 50-man content.
50-man content, yeah.
Yeah, that sort of thing. I guess you'd have to go in that direction with that. But I mean,
give 50 people, I don't know, one stack of money.
Do we really want to like trivialize the game though? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know, dude. I'm just some fun ideas here. Because the thing is, like, what do we really have to like sell this expansion on that hasn't already been talked about? There's player housing, there's fishing, there's mounts, there's World vs. World. Like, we need to come up with something unique, in my opinion, something that actually packs a punch. And I was just thinking different rewards, and the different rewards could be skills. And I don't know where to go with this. It's not really a thought out train of thought. It's just kind of memes.
Let's talk about the guild integration then, because I think that was a really interesting idea, and I've been thinking about it, you know, for the past 20 minutes, because I thought that was I was like, would they ever do that? Would they ever really take such a 180 from going from a more like soloable experience more over to a group experience? But then I realized they did this, right? They did do that, right? They originally did start out with like a more of an organized group feel into HOT as well. Then they kind of went back on that with Path of Fire. Would they go back to maybe a middle ground where there is a solo experience, but also there is actually a really strong community guild focus in the game? Yeah, I think so. And maybe that could be something you could sell alongside alliances, because we touched on alliances here. And I think I actually disagree with Deroir here. I think it would be a mistake, as much as it pains me to say it, I think it would be a mistake to release alliances before the expansion now. I think it would actually be a really fucking big mistake to do that. I think that is a huge selling point that you can use, say, oh yeah, look, this game mode reworked. Boom, it's back. Any Realm versus Realmers in the chat? Okay, let's fucking go. You know, let's start playing World versus World. And you could definitely have that. You could couple that with a potentially reworked guild system, because let's be honest, like the guild system is like, I mean, it's as dead as dungeons, right? And that's when you're saying dungeons and another system in the same breath. Ooh, yeah, ouch, that hurts. So yeah, would they actually ever go about and do that? I don't know. Maybe they would. And how would they even do that? Like, the very nature of Guild Wars 2 has always been that it can be a bit of a Zerg fest to a certain extent. So how do you incentivize and how do you create this group play? Do you just make the content hard, or do you have a way to turn on a boss in open world to a hard mode if enough people vote for it or something like that? To make it so you need to organize? Because I don't think they're ever going to make stuff, you know, they're never going to make like your regular old world boss, like say Shadow Behemoth. They're not going to make that require group coordination, are they? In fact, none of the world bosses do. Like the one that kind of did a little bit, the one in Vabi, right? Like the Vabi one. That was
Triple Trouble Worm for a while.
Yeah, but I mean, that one still does. But I mean, that was quite a while ago. You know, that was a little while ago. Like they don't do this anymore.
Some of the best ways to get group content to be more difficult in Guild Wars 2 is to get them to split up groups.
Yeah, and be coordinated. To be as coordinated as possible. Yeah.
They could do that again, I guess.
They could definitely do that, but what I mean is that I don't think they'll do that just as a baseline. They'll have to design some kind of system that will get switched on, because otherwise I mean, if you just rock up to a random Triple Trouble, it will fail, right? You will fail. And that's
So
obviously...
you're saying you don't think that they want that as a baseline?
No, I think in general, ArenaNet want the success rate of events to be 90% plus, I would say. Maybe even more than that.
Maybe I lost something in your train of thought here, but I don't know how we went from guild systems to challenging content, because I don't see those two as interconnected necessarily. Quite the contrary, actually.
Really? I mean,
Yeah.
my okay.
If you want to make guilds come alive, you don't want to challenge them. You want to make people interested in interacting with one another, and you're not necessarily only going to get that through gameplay. What I'm saying is, my idea here would be you need to retouch some of the social structures and some of the social interfaces that you have in the game. You need to make your friends list, your guild list, a lot more interactable. Make a guild calendar. Let you
One thing that I've been
be
waiting
able
for
to see more details about your guild mates, stuff like that.
Yeah. So I think we do need better guild integration in most of the game, and I think that one of the things that we've been waiting for a very long time kind of came in the game recently when they finally added a looking for guild into the looking for group section of your of the menu. Like there is a section now where instead of spamming map chat, you could actually write down who wants to join this guild, essentially. And I've needed that to be in the game for a very long time, especially if we're going to an alliance system for world versus world, and especially if we might be doing alliance battles in the future for PvP, and things are going to be more guild integrated just for PvE in general. And even for strike missions and raids, all of this kind of needs something like a guild to work properly, and you want to find the right guild. So a looking for guild system is so important. The only problem is that what they put in the game, while a good step, is very bare bones, and there needs to be something better. And so I'm wondering if that's something they're working on that might come out for the expansion as well, or if they think that what they've done is enough.
I agree. I want to address a comment real quick, because just saying that it's the perfect way to introduce challenging content. Coordination equals guilds, less pug content, more guild content equals harder content. Well, you're not wrong, and that's kind of the thing. Obviously, challenging content is going to incentivize some people to interact more or stick together, but I think it's not the only thing. And I think the biggest majority of the player base is much more casual than you might think. It's not going to incentivize them just because you have hard content. It's not going to incentivize them to necessarily play with their guildies or to form a guild around that content. A lot of people have just social guilds that they want to do some casual shit with. They run around with their friends. It's about expanding what is interesting for a guild to do together, not because of the challenge inherent to it and the communication needed for it, but maybe because you get double the rewards for being with your guild, or you get a specific currency for your guild when you're doing strike missions. Say you add guild missions, 2 guild missions, you add strike missions, and strike missions suddenly give a special currency, a special faction currency for your guild to build a building or to maintain buffs in your guild. So everyone is incentivized to play with their friends, not necessarily to coordinate, but because you are all better rewarded or just better put.
But okay, so my issue there
so
is
there's
that
challenge, there's rewards, and there's the social aspects. I think those are the 3 things that you all have to hit at the same time. But you cannot just say make more challenging content and people will bundle together. It's not going to happen. People will LFG the shit out of it. They will not care about the guild. That's exactly what's happening right now.
I think to a certain extent, though, like kind of requiring some of that coordination is what generates the guilds, though, because my issue with Guild Wars 2 and the way the guild system works is there's just no incentive to. There's like never a real reason to actually make a guild. Like the content just doesn't demand it, right? That there is, and in a way, this is such. I really wrestle with this one, Deroir. This one really fucking hurts me, dude. This one genuinely hurts my soul. I do not like this realization I have about Guild Wars 2. I just think that the community is not very interested in making communities, right? That's kind of what I observe. Like, a lot of people do essentially want to play a very single player MMO to a certain, and that's fine, I guess. But like, whenever I do raids, like, no one's talking to her, that no one's communicating, right, in any way. Like, even in people within my guild, no one's fucking talking, right? It's like me and Jester, and this is like a really big issue. I just don't know.
T-Bone, I have to stop you here.
Yeah,
maybe you are surrounding yourself with the wrong type of people.
No.
In that case, if you are looking for community, maybe you shouldn't be surrounding yourself with the people that are interested in the rewards. That may be the issue.
But that's everyone.
No, is it everyone though?
Yeah.
Because there's still a lot of active just community guilds that are just there to chat with each other. Not also, to play together, but to chat with each other
too. You stream all the time too. I'm sure a lot of the people in Discord don't want to be overheard.
But they don't talk in text either.
That's typing's tough, you know?
Typing is hard, dude. Typing's fucking rough. Yeah, but I don't know, dude. Like, this is
my only point is I don't think it's all the people of this game that are not interested in communities. I think it's just the content that you are playing heavily favorizes just the people that are interested in the rewards, and then they piss off to somewhere else.
Sure,
I think a lot of the people that you say aren't interacting in your chat or in your guild chat, they're interacting with a lot of other people in other chats, in other guilds that are just there for the social aspect. Correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously, anyone in chat, if you are, I mean, in Salt.
Well, my issue is that it did.
Let me know that I'm wrong.
The thing is, it didn't used to be like this, right? And I actually agree with you. I think I think a lot. I guess the issue is that within my game mode, which is raids, strikes, stuff like that, like, no one's left, right? Who actually just, you know, who doesn't just want the rewards to a certain extent. It didn't used to be like this. You know, there used to be like the game used to be a very social experience for me. Now I am essentially solo all the time.
But
right.
But that is also something that has happened because the social aspects of this game, the guild systems, the like all of that hasn't really been, I mean, kept up to date. It hasn't really been evolved since then. It's only really gone downhill. So the people that were actually interested in making communities, talking, making friends, they've moved on because the systems just weren't really there. And when some people would leave, others would just feel like they were alone. And when you feel alone, you'd leave off to somewhere else. If what you're looking for is a community.
Also, it might just be, it might be a you thing, Teapot. Just because, you know, you are who you are, and people might be intimidated to talk to you sometimes. And,
oh no, that's scary. Come on, man. Come on, man.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe that's another aspect too. Like, you don't find that many people who are comfortable enough to talk to you all the time.
That is entirely possible, and I honestly hope you're right. I want you to be right, because it does make me sad when I think about like the way the Salt community is, because it's fucking dead, dude. Okay, it's dead. It honestly died with Path of Fire, which is why I'm not gonna lie, I do resent Path of Fire quite a lot, because Path of Fire marked the point where ArenaNet took Salt out back and just, you know, said, you know, just think of a beautiful raid with loads of raid bosses and amazing loot, and then bang, you know, like it was over at that point as well. And it's just, I don't know, I think it's really difficult to actually incentivize this sort of stuff within, I suppose, like the raid scene, right? Because I guess everyone's kind of buggered off to go and play other games or something. But I don't know, like, you know, like my friends all quit and they didn't come back. You know, that's the thing, dude. I'm the only one who came back. Everyone else stayed away. It's like, it feels bad, man. It's like unlucky,
I guess.
Is it the
game or is it you? That's the question.
Yeah, yeah. It's, who knows?
I mean,
who knows?
That's kind of the case, though, right? A lot of the people that you surrounded yourself with, and a lot of the people that were interested in the end game content, that's why they, I guess, joined Salt in some regard. The end game content isn't there; it's not being evolved, and so your community is obviously dying. But that doesn't mean that every community is necessarily dying.
That is, I mean, that's of course That's of course the case, but I guess the thing is, right, like, you say, oh, you could go and join one of these communities. The trouble is that community, which is, I have nothing in common with them, right?
No. I completely feel you. That's my biggest issue, because I've been actively trying to look for a community guild, because I also feel very alone in this game.
Yeah. I think we agree then. I think we agree. I think we've maybe just been slightly.
I'm just not on.
Yeah.
But I'm not in the same frame of mind as they are, and I just. Yeah.
When are we gonna do an NA Beetle race? What's going on?
Dude, Beetle
really
race
question,
gaming,
actually.
man.
Damn, that's a while ago. Ooh,
Jesus.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, no, I know. I think we agree. We were just slightly talking past each other. I think to a certain extent, it's not that there are no communities. It's just that like mine is not going to come back, right? And there aren't. And people say, oh yeah, make new friends. Loads of people come and interact with will like come across me. Like I'll talk to anyone on fucking stream, right? I'll talk to anyone in game. Like if you message me in game and you want to say let's do raids, you'll almost certainly get your raid. If you randomly ask me for Doom CM and I'm not doing something, there's a pretty good chance. Fuck it, let's go. You know what I mean? So it's not like I'm like actively like hiding away from people. Like the trouble is that a lot of the people that I interact with in the game and kind of are left over in the game just like don't really share the same mentality that I do and like have the same interests. I mean, yeah, I'm sure there are plenty of social guilds that are talking about like fucking farming open world, but the thing is, I'd rather uninstall the game than farm open world. It's
Teapot.
Yeah,
friendship is a give and take situation. You have to give some to also get some.
That's right. So if you want to stay friends with me, you have to give me gold.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Whoa! What do you mean? What's going on there?
It's a friendship wait.
Wait, whoa.
Whoa.
Oh my
Where are we going with
goodness.
this?
What is that?
I'm not going to say.
But anyways, to go back from to the whole guild system, I would love to see more of the end game stuff added to the guild mission system, or in a new way, new guild missions, not just commendations. Fuck the commendations. Make it something actually interesting and long term, or not necessarily long term, just like interesting. Commendations are kind of boring. So like strike missions, add those to guild mission system. Bounties, both in Path of Fire and Acantha and wherever they are, make them actually interesting for a guild to do on a daily basis. Maybe that is the way that you make bounties interesting, is to add a guild currency.
Hey, what about this? Guilds. Okay, so guilds are pretty much, if we're going this way, guilds are pretty much involved in many different ways. In every aspect of the next expansion. So like World versus World alliances, possibly PvP alliance battles, 15 versus 15, possibly aligning your guild with factions in PvE, Kurzik, Luxon, the Emperor, whatever. What if for all of those, as in addition to rewards and stuff, there was kind of a ranking system?
I'm listening.
I mean, World versus World, obviously you'd have something like that. PvP, obviously you'd have something like that. Maybe guilds can do things for the Kurziks or the Luxons, and the guild that is providing the most for those factions has extra benefits, has extra clout in the world of Tyria.
Favor or reputation.
Extra reputation. Maybe there's a list of the best guilds helping the Kurziks or the Luxons going on.
See, now that is, I like that.
Yeah, no, I think stuff like that will be really good. Having that the overarching theme
into seasons
will be really good.
Seasonal. You can even put that shit into seasons and then give people titles.
You would probably have to.
Holy shit!
If you didn't do that, you'd end up with like one guild kind of dominating everything.
Well, yeah, there's always going to be that one guild that dominates everything.
How would you do it though, with regards to like making small guilds be competitive though?
Make it not dependent on the amount of players that participate, but on the activity that is actually performed. But obviously, there's going to be, if you have more players, there's going to be more activities performed. But if you make it if you cap it on a daily basis, you still are going to have a certain amount of things that only a limited amount of things that can be done, so to speak. So a small number of very dedicated players would still be able to do it. Same way as a lot of very casual players could do it in a much shorter time.
You could tie it to alliances though. Like, what if you? Because alliances are going to have a player cap, right? And your alliance could have a faction. Your alliance could be Luxnor Kurzik. And then you could do it like that maybe. So if you're a small guild, you can just join an alliance, and then.
But
boom,
in that case, you'd have
easy.
to make it a bit more individual, I guess. If you're not focusing on the guild but the alliance, you'd either have to have like an alliance leader to start missions, or however it works, because that's how it works right now, where the guild leader kind of starts the mission and then shit happens. Otherwise, you'd have to make it more individual, like a daily thing that each member does. But then you're not focusing on the guild as much as you are focusing on the individual participating for the guild. Do you see the difference? You want people to come together to actually interact with one another and do the activities instead of them doing it on their own time. Right?
Yeah, sure. You want to have that element of organization, so you want at least the leader to be involved of the individual guild, right?
Yeah.
But I mean,
I don't know though.
That seems
I don't
kind
know
of
though.
doable, though, right?
Especially for big guilds, I don't know if that's really a great idea.
Maybe the whole way of going about it is not making a first place. Don't make it. Don't let
like
there
top
be
tier
a
guilds is a group of 6 guilds or 10 guilds or something.
Yes. Don't let there be a top one rank, or you can always have the rank. But don't let there be an achievement. Like not a guild god of factions kind of title. Don't let there be that, because then the top people are not going to continuously screw everyone else over. What we don't want in a system like this is ultra competitiveness, where it's just bandwagoning and people screwing each other over. Because then you just create a kind of shitty situation for a lot of players.
You have space for 5 guilds. Why can't one of them be reserved for trying to get into the best guild on the server?
I mean, maybe, but I was just trying to make it a bit less potential for like. I don't want to use the word toxicity.
Right.
Yeah.
This is where my mega cynicism comes in to the entire guild system here. Right? We're talking about, like, oh yeah, you get extra rewards for playing with the guild. The Guild Wars 2 community, instead of actually making a community, you'll just have like a massive public guild that will just like AFK with each other and like farm all the rewards, right? Instead of actually doing that. You know, with this stuff, people are just gonna fucking bandwagon over and take the path of least resistance. Like, and obviously that would happen in any game, and this does happen in any game. I think it is very extreme in Guild Wars 2. Like, players, they love their rewards here, guys, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that, but I do think that the community is kind of so used to not interacting with other players that they will like actively avoid it to a certain extent. Like a lot of people. And yeah, I agree. I completely agree with you. There are still lots of communities, and you know, it is definitely, you know, I am kind of like left out fucking in the dark here, dude. You know, like it's raining, it's fucking depressing, right? Yeah, definitely. But I think that the vast majority of players in Guild Wars 2 essentially play the game as a solo experience. And as much as I would like to bring guilds back, I just feel like the community would just abuse the fuck out of whatever ArenaNet would put, and people would figure out how to cheese it, and then boom, the system would just be on farm. Feels bad, man.
But okay, so let's obviously assume that players are going to cheese shit, because that's what players do in this game. Then we have to come up with a system that doesn't incentivize cheesing, but also makes it interesting for players to still participate. So you can't take away the rewards, and you can't make the rewards limited, and you can't make it just a one-off. Because the moment that you do that, then people are not going to interact with it after the first time. But at the same time, they also won't bandwagon if it's a one-off. Because it's just a one-off. They'll get it eventually.
Yeah, that's true.
So how do we make a system that incentivizes players to play together without just playing with the biggest boy in the room?
Well, I think it's actually really with anything that is PvP focused, or rather, you know, when you're playing against other players, I think it's really difficult to do. Actually, really, really difficult to do. I think it's in a way it's a little bit inevitable that you end up with a little bit of bandwagon fiesta. I mean, you can look how World versus World
especially that
plays
first
out.
season of World versus World.
Yeah, that's good. That's fucking good. I don't know. Like it's very difficult to get around it. Like it needs to be organic. It will never be organic though. As long as there's a system around it, people will always try and game the system.
But isn't that what alliances are for here? We need maybe we need tiers. Maybe we need a World versus World kind of system that groups guilds or factions or alliances or whatever it's going to be into different categories that fight against one another on a weekly basis, and then it rotates.
Okay, so
but
I
then
think
on
you
a
gotta
PvE,
I think you got to separate this discussion into PvE and then PvP World versus World. I think PvP World versus World is fine that there's competition and that people are going to want to change guilds all the time because their guild isn't good enough. I think that's fine because that's a competitive natured thing. Okay. PvE, you may be right. Maybe competition in PvE in that situation with guilds is not the greatest idea, but at the same time it could be fine. Like if you had like that top 20 guilds or something is in one category and it's not 1, 2, 3, etc. That could be fine because like it's going to be more welcoming. It's not going to be like discerning, right? As long as you don't do rewards for the guild as a whole based on how each individual person in the guild is doing, it's going to be more, I just want everybody in my guild to the more the merrier, right? Like you're going to invite as many people as you can into your guild and hopefully they all join and rep you. So as long as it's not like 1 weak link in your guild throws your season off or whatever, it'll always be the more the merrier.
Yeah, that's certainly well, yeah, you because ArenaNet don't want to promote any toxicity, right? If they make it so that you can just like get fucked if someone isn't pulling their weight, then yeah, I mean, look. If you push the bomb wrong on Octovine, you know what's going to happen to you, dude. You're going to get called out and exposed. So imagine if like your entire week of gaming could get messed up if someone just doesn't really do it right. That would be another level of toxicity because this is one thing that I love about the Guild Wars 2 community. I love it. Like the community in Guild Wars 2 is just as toxic as any other community. Is that it doesn't really bubble to the surface because there's so few opportunities to grief each other. And this is another really big problem here. Okay, like if you have any kind of competitive stuff in PvE where you're essentially competing, even if you're fighting monsters, but that kind of feeds into a greater system, there will be fucking trolling, dude. There will be griefing, and there will be a lot of it, right? Okay, because it's funny, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Look, I'm not gonna pretend. I'm not gonna fucking pretend. Look, seriously, I'm saying this now openly. New World system, it is very open to abuse, and do you know who's gonna be abusing it? Like day one, week one, it's me. It's me, Boots. Okay, it's me. Right, I'm gonna fucking troll people really hard in that game, and it's gonna be great, right? It's gonna be really good.
Yeah.
That's
you're the reason they changed the entire PvP setup.
Well, no. Here's the thing. I don't like ganking. They changed it because they didn't like ganking, right? And the griefing. But I don't like that shit, dude. Like fuck griefing and fuck ganking. I'm not about that life.
You would still do it though.
Okay. Well, I mean, I would do it 100%. To my enemies, obviously. Fuck them, dude. Okay. Well, look, right. Look, tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong in this situation. Someone was ganking Ipos in Classic WoW. I fucking got the boys and we camped his corpse for like 30 minutes until he logged out of the game. Who was wrong there? Like he deserved that. Okay, he brought that on himself, right? There's no question that he was ganking my boy. I bring the lads. There's 5 of us, 1 of him. We 5v1 him on respawn, and we don't stop.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, he deserved that. You reap. Is it not written? You reap what you fucking sow, dude. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
If that shit happens in New World, dude, like, yeah, fuck yeah, you're getting griefed, okay? Like, yeah, you're ganking my boys,
in New
okay?
World, you're gonna be like, this guy rolled this type of character. This is not the type of character you're supposed to roll. Let's grief him until he quits the game. That's what you're gonna do.
I don't know, dude.
Oh, Teapot,
That's good memes.
Teapot.
It's good shit. Yeah, I'll bring 50 and camp you for the next month. Well, exactly, base. That's the thing, right? Then now everyone starts camping each other, and then that's where you've got content, right? That's where the content comes. You know, it's good shit.
That's
Yeah.
that's when content doesn't
Dude,
come.
what do
because
you
people
mean?
will
That's so
stop
good.
Playing. People will piece the fuck out. They will not
Oh
give a
my
shit
God.
about logging in.
Yeah,
New world.
it's amazing. It's good. It's fucking good content, man. It's good. Yeah, why can't we just be nice to each other? Well, look, okay, you know, if you grief my boys, you know, then I'm gonna bring in the lads and we're gonna take him out. You know, we're gonna deal with him. Okay, that's what's gonna happen there. I don't know. It's kind of funny. I mean, and it's part of the game. And you know, maybe he didn't deserve that. But here's the thing, right? You know, the classic WoW enables you to do that, and in a way, right? Like it's kind of baked into the game that is there. And this is something you have to be really careful with systems like this. Like if you allow players to interact with each other without consequence, right? Then there are some pretty obnoxious things you can do, right?
Wait, okay, completely different.
Let's go.
I had a great. I just had a great thought.
Do it.
Okay, so instead of okay, maybe this is gonna create bandwagoning again. But
ooh, here we go.
Instead of creating a leaderboard system, maybe I like the idea of the leaderboard system, but instead of that, what if what we had was guild strike missions, right? And guild strike missions were entered from your guild hall, maybe, and you had to enter from your guild hall, so to speak, with your guild, and you had to have X amount of your guild members in. And if you had X amount of your guild members in that guild run, you would get a special token, either Luxon or Kursik, maybe, if you want to go faction way. And these tokens can be spent for buffs in your guild hall.
Ooh,
so
yeah.
Instead of making it account bound, where you have magic, find, karma, gold, whatever, you can make that buff bigger with your guild. So if you're repping your guild, you will get these bonuses. We kind of had that at one point, where it's like, oh, you have cheaper waypoints or whatnot. Like that was early game, and then they took that away. But what if we actually just extend that and allow guilds to just build slowly on these percentage increases? So like say it's like
while in your guild,
100 tokens per percentage of one thing. Like a 1% magic find is like 100 tokens, and you get one token per player or something every time you complete a strike mission.
So I feel like players like you and Teapot would love that, but
yeah,
I don't know if the entire population would care that much about 1% for 100 tokens.
Well, it would stack up though, right? A lot.
But it would stay there.
Yeah.
It would incentivize you to play with your guildies, or at least have a guild team to drop those tokens in.
You know, I think the idea of guild progression would actually is a really good idea. Actually, I think, right? Maybe it's something that's been really lacking.
Easily organize into like, okay, if you don't drop in 3 tokens a week, you're out of the guild. Peace out.
Oh,
those are like hardcore guilds, right?
I mean.
Okay, maybe that was a little bit too rough.
Yeah,
but
dude, Deroir like bringing the fucking memes, dude. Holy shit.
Well, yeah, okay. Now I just saw the issue. All the progression that you put in will be lost, and that was the issue with monetizing guild halls in the first place. So yeah, we can't do that.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Fuck. I just realized it was a good idea, though.
It was an interesting idea for sure. I like the idea of new buffs for guilds over and above your character buffs. That's a good idea. I don't know about the kicking people out of the guild if they don't give enough donations to it.
Okay, maybe it's just not tied to the guild then. Maybe it's just tied to your character, but you still have to play with your guild. So like you can buff your own stuff.
Now it's getting confusing.
Okay, so let's say you get the token, and you just consider it like a luck, right? Luck increases every time you complete the strike mission. You get 1 token that you can put into either one of these, like gold find, magic find, or karma find, or whatever, right? And it's only for your account, but you have to play with your guild to get those tokens to be able to enter the strike mission. that means you don't lose your progress because it's account bound. But you still have to play with your guild. It means that you're incentivized to play with your guild to get the rewards to boost your account in the long run. But it's not power crept for the entire guild, and it doesn't incentivize bandwagoning.
So I think
the guild itself doesn't get anything.
Deroir, I think what this demonstrates is that us three here in this teapot tea time thing, we're here for the big ideas. We shouldn't get down into the nitty gritty of exactly what
are you talking about? I think that was a great idea.
System works. I think it was fine. I think it was good. I think it was better than my leaderboard idea. But I think that it's tough. It's tough thinking exactly game design wise what's gonna make everybody happy. And yeah,
that's why we're 7 years down the lines and no one's ever happy.
Yeah.
Game design is hard.
Let's kind of go back to the original idea then, and I think Deroir, you have some really good insight on this actually with a lot of the ideas here. Like, what is like the number one thing that is preventing people from using the guild system, right? Like, what are we actually? Because I think we've got a little bit lost in the weeds here to a certain. What problem are we trying to solve exactly? Is it the lack of incentive with the guild structure?
It's definitely the lack of incentive, because everything you could get everything in the game solo. You don't need to have a guild.
Okay.
You don't ever like repping has no interest. Playing with your guildmates has no interest. Like you are more likely to just LFG for someone better if you are in a guild for the community, right?
Sure.
That was a weird. But yeah. Let's say your guild just sucks ass at like fractals, and you want to play fractals, but you wanna chat with your friends as well. You're more likely to just LFG for someone with more KP than your shitty friends.
Well, I mean, isn't that kind of the point of having 5 guilds, though, right? Because, I mean, aren't the benefit of guilds in a way intrinsic to the guild, right? I mean, like, if you're in, say, a raid guild, you'll be able to find players to raid with, right? If you're in a world versus world guild, you'll have specified raid nights when you go out and play with your guild in a 15v15 or you know, 20 versus 20, whatever you're doing, or just out in the open field, right? Just doing your thing. If you're in a fucking open world guild, you might be able to get organized triple troubles daily, right? For example, like, aren't the benefits in a way already there to a certain extent?
The benefit, I guess the benefits are there, but I guess they're intrinsic in a sense, right? You have to project this incentive to like yourself onto your guild. You have to want to play with these players.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the best way to do it, though, to a certain extent? Isn't it best if it's like purely?
Because that's the situation we have right now. And do you think this is the best case scenario?
Well, it's like a yes and a no meme. Like, I would, if the game's content was different, I would actually say yes. But so in other words,
but it isn't.
Well, here's the thing, though. Like, I think for a lot of people, it is ideal. It's just not ideal for me, right? If that makes any sense.
I think that it should be ideal. I think the main issue with today is that it's not easy to find that like-minded guild necessarily.
Yeah.
Like, unless you have friends, a group of 10 friends that are always like from outside of the game that you make a guild with, and they're always playing, and and everybody's always online, then it's fine. You're perfect. You're set. But if you have to find a guild that wants to do the same things you want to do, then it gets a little tricky. Because how do you do that? There were no tools in game before, except for looking for map chat and seeing something that might be okay. Or maybe pugging something with a guild that seems okay, and then saying, hey, could I join your guild? And now that we have the looking for guild in the party system, it could get a little bit better, but it's not that much better.
Well, here's why I think you kind of need to have like more content that in a way demands this group mentality, right? Like, I think that kind of approaching it from almost like the reward or incentive perspective is in a way coming at the problem the wrong way, right? Don't you think?
Well, yes, I agree with you. But in practice, what we're seeing is the situation we have right now. all of the content, most of the content in Guild Wars 2 is very group oriented. That does not mean that players played with their guild.
Well, yeah, because it's not really group content, is it? It's playing alone together. That's the problem. I mean,
exactly. And so you have to push beyond just being group oriented to being like incentivizing you to play with specific players.
Okay, you know, I misspoke. I mean, like, when I say like group oriented, I mean required coordination, essentially, right? Or like you won't be able to effectively complete this content unless you are playing with people you know and you can, to a certain extent, trust, right? I kind of feel that's almost like the only way to do it, because you know where guilds do still form? Like a lot.
But that happens with raids, right? Raid bosses are a coordinating dance, right? You have to coordinate with the people that you trust to do the tasks or whatever the fuck.
And you know what?
Right?
That you had a lot of fucking raid guilds when we had 3 raid wings in 1 year with wings 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I completely agree with you. Like, this is the issue though, is that I feel like you can't. This is almost something that you can't really force, right? Yeah, if you added raids to the game, yeah, boom, you're gonna have raid guilds. But we get 1 raid a year, which is, you know, I enjoy it, but you know, it's obviously not enough to sustain a community. I mean, look, they're all playing some fucking weeaboo catgirl game now, right? And with World versus World is probably, you know, ironically, even though it is, I would argue, the deadest game mode in terms of updates. It's actually surprisingly alive, actually. But why is it surprisingly alive? Because the game mode inherently encourages you to form guilds and essentially play as a group, right? Because if you don't, you are essentially prey to people who do.
So, to boil down the argument here, focusing on guilds is an impossibility, because what you actually need, I'm paraphrasing your argument, what you actually just need is content that encourages people to dynamically form up. Am I understanding that right?
I think if you try and actually build guilds on like the sole reason of essentially gathering rewards, yeah, I think that you are building your house on quicksand.
I would agree, but once you have a foundation for people to play together, wouldn't they be much more likely to play other content together that requires that coordination?
That is certainly true. For example, a lot of World versus World guilds do go and try raids, for example. But I don't think a lot of social guilds go and play raids, no.
But maybe strike missions.
Maybe strike missions, but oh, dude, ArenaNet's approach with strike missions, man. Okay, this is like a really big segue here. I want to go back to the more recent stuff. But what do you guys think about ArenaNet's approach to strike missions? I think it's actually not correct, because I think Whisper of Jormag is probably too hard for a lot of people, actually. I think it's like really turning people off, actually. I don't know. I hope, again, I hope I'm wrong here with this stuff, but I think that their approach of essentially ramping strikes up to raid difficulty just means like, nope, not. A lot of people just go like, nah, not for me, I'm out, right? I think that actually happens rather than what I was hoping for, which would be
getting better.
Yeah, they're not getting better, and that's fine, right? Like, look, not everyone wants to get good at every game. I mean, dude, there are plenty of games that I do not give a fuck about being even remotely competent at, right? I just play my video game and then away we go, right? But what is I don't know. I'm not sure about this approach.
I think it's fine. Yeah. I think it's a fine design choice, and I think it's that they just need that ramp in the game. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that they have to continuously make strike missions harder and harder and harder and harder. They just have to have some line towards raids, and then when they continue with strike missions, it could be anywhere along that line.
I agree.
So essentially, they could bring in some easier ones, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's fair enough. But I just hope they're really, really careful with that, because I think that, don't get me wrong, I actually think Whisper of Jormag is a genuinely fantastic fight. I really like it, right? It's really, really cool. But I don't know, like there are a few issues. I think the community, like I suppose the target audience for strikes is maybe not super interested in them, right? Like the target audience is the people who don't raid. They don't do any kind of hardcore content, right? And the trouble is that now they're just getting like farmed by raiders instead. I mean, look, I heard that like SC, they're all about that Whisper of Jormag farm, dude, to like get ridiculous amount of gold. And look, the actual design of strike missions themselves is excellent, but I don't know, like.
Yeah, I can see the issue. Like if strike missions just consistently come out to be just slightly less difficult than raids, then yeah, absolutely, you're right. But I feel like if they continue with strike missions, they're not going to just abandon it as soon as they have those 6 points towards raids. They're going to continue coming out with strike missions, and then they don't have to make them any harder. They could just make them anywhere along that line.
Oh yeah, and that's fine. But I guess what I mean is that you aren't going. I don't think players move between game modes very often. No. Let me rephrase. I don't think players move between effort tiers very often. Right? I think some do. Some players will start out as like a like me. Right? I started out as a very very casual player of Guild Wars 2. And then I got into Raid. I was like, dude, Raids are pretty fucking good. Then I got into World Boss War. I was like, dude, World Boss War is pretty fucking good. Then I started playing PvP as well. I was like, oh, dude, PvP is pretty fucking good. But I think a lot of people just stay wherever they started, right? And don't really move. And this kind of, I think ArenaNet's dream of having this ramp that people can climb up, right? It's like, it's a fool's errand to a certain extent. I don't think it will ever happen. I don't think people are like that.
So wait, Whisper of Jormag is that? In your opinion, how close is that to raid difficulty?
Surprisingly close, actually. I would even go as far to... I would argue that it is harder than some raid encounters.
So then they're done. They don't have to make any harder ones than that. Everything else could be easier than that. And people will know when they try Whisper of Jormag as a strike mission, they'll be like, okay, this is difficult. And they might not try it very often because of that, and they'll continue doing the easier ones. And the ones they come out with will probably be easier than Whisper of Jormag. So new content all the time they'll be able to play. And eventually, I feel like if you guys are doing the easier strike missions, you're going to feel like you could probably take on Whisper of Jormag at some point. And then when you hear that Whisper of Jormag is as hard as, if not harder than some raids, time to transition over.
I mean, yeah, on paper that sounds great, but I mean, does it really happen? I'm not sure, dude. It's, I don't know. I don't. Okay, no, we should not talk about this. This is a rabbit hole you don't want to fucking go down, dude. You know, like this is like the biggest clown fiesta of all arguments. I think. Like, I think what Jerry says is basically the only way you actually do this. This is what really frustrates me. Oh, dude, I hate this so much. No. What I don't like about all this stuff, and in principle, I agree with both of you, but like from a pragmatic point, I kind of have to disagree. I love the design of Guild Wars 2, the freedom it gives you. Like, yeah, you can do this, you can do that. You don't have to play with a guild, you can play solo. Nice, awesome, right? Oh, you don't have to do raids, you don't have to do that. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to be good at the game at all. But do you know what happens when you give people the option of not doing something difficult while essentially getting the same rewards but maybe a little bit slower? Nobody fucking does it. And I hate to say this, but some of like the shitty cancer design of older MMOs, stuff like Final Fantasy and WoW Classic, right? Where it forces you to get good at the game and it forces you to play bosses in the storyline and stuff like that. It works. Okay, it's effective. It will actually cause people to want to have a certain level of skill in the game to beat it, right? Otherwise, they are hard locked out of the content. And don't get me wrong, I actually agree. ArenaNet's design is better. Their design is better. It makes my gameplay better. Okay, I like the fact that the game gives me a shit ton of freedom. I love that. But the problem is, it kind of makes the community worse. Okay, because not everyone respects that freedom, okay? And I know that sounds like insanely pretentious, but it's true. Not everyone respects how well designed Guild Wars 2 is, okay? And people abuse the charity that Arena has given them to effectively make the community like a fucking casual zero effort fiesta, which then in turn kind of makes the game worse for me as well. Fuck! God damn it. Pepe hands.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of what I have learned during my experiences in Guild Wars 2, I guess. Oh my god. Do I have to remind you?
So you're saying you want, like, I mean, obviously we're not going to get that, but you're saying that you wouldn't mind people being forced into doing something too difficult.
I think people just get used to it. I think it might be a little bit too late to change on that, but I think that the only way to make it work is to essentially force people to do stuff. It reminded you of your meltdown by doing the scars, because it wasn't a meltdown. I was like very frustrated and pretty disappointed. Call me a sin. But hey, guess what? I still did it. I mean, I complained about it because it was horrible. I had to collect 21 fucking minuscule eggs around the same map. I'd already done 3 laps around, gathering up ill sky scales and actually literal scales on the ground as well. That was fun, wasn't it? Yeah, but yeah, like forcing you to do stuff is like the only way to do it, right? I mean, yeah.
So if we bring that back to guilds, and you're asking what's the incentive to get into guilds, maybe forcing for certain things is the way to go.
I think you kind of have to, yeah. If you want to force people to do it, then yeah. So mold about the sky skull. Oh no, seriously, guys. Oh my god, a bunch of fucking papagas in the chat, man. Oh my god. Listen, boys. Okay, no, yeah, go ahead. Okay, yeah, hit me. Let's go.
Let me just be the devil's advocate for a second on the forcing players to play the game. If you think about it, Guild Wars 2 in a lot of ways is a lot of different games in one, and a lot of different players play it for very different reasons. Not just PvP, World versus World, and PvE, but like there are subdivisions in everything.
Sure, yeah.
There are the people in PvE that literally only want to sit on the trading post, and that is their game. Mm-hmm. There are people that just want to be in the open world, do strike missions or raids or only fractals, or still want to hold on to dungeons. In PvP, there are people that just only care about just having fun in unranked. Oh, it's just Water Weaver all day in unranked. Who cares? I mean, yeah, there's a lot of subdivisions, and I think forcing players to play the game at a high level it seems like a very self-serving argument from you, Teapot, who would want people to be better at the game and thus join raids and up the quality for everyone else and the challenge, right?
Oh, of course, yeah. No,
it seems very self-serving, and I don't know if it's actually the right way to go about it, just because that's how we feel like.
I wouldn't call that devil's advocate. I would call that angel's advocate, Deroir.
Yeah, no, like 100%. No, whenever I advocate for this stuff, right? I'm always going to advocate for my own interests, right? I'm not going to advocate against it. Am I? You know, like do I think it is the best way to go about it? I would even argue that it's probably like the only way you can really go about it. Like, I mean, it's if your goal is to make people engage in guilds and actually play the game together in meaningful ways, then yeah, to a certain extent, I think you have to set the bar and say jump. Right? If the bar is always tippy toe, and then you say jump as high as you can, people are going to step over. Right? If you can step over the bar and you don't have to jump, not many people are going to like randomly jump up into the air. Does that make any sense? Right?
Yeah, I get it.
And that's kind of the issue. I think as much as I don't like it, because look, guys, I don't like the fact that stuff like the Sky Scale collection is kind of necessary. Because look. I am in the Sky Scale collection. I am the kind of player I'm talking about, right? Okay. If there was another way to get the Sky Scale collection, I would absolutely have done that, right? And if I could have literally bought it for gems, I maybe would have actually to skip that collection, because but I was forced to do it, right? Because there's no other way to get it, and.
But that's assuming that you wanted the mount.
Yeah,
nobody forced you to do it.
Well, of course I want the fucking mount, dude. Okay, I want my dragon. I want my Dargon. Okay,
but you weren't forced to it. You forced yourself because you wanted the dragon.
Well, that's what I mean, though, right? Like, you're not forced to do anything. You're not even forced to start up the game, right? Like, when we're talking about this, we're not talking about like literally.
No, but
right?
The thing is, like, if you force people too hard to make that jump, they're much more likely in that case to just leave.
Well, are they? Look at other games. Other games do this, and no one leaves.
Yeah, but you're asking the game here to take a 180 on its philosophy.
Oh, I know.
And a
Oh,
lot of people would
yeah.
just not have it.
This is why I wanted to start talking about this.
There's a difference. There's a difference in having it been there from the start and then adding it 7 years later.
I completely agree with you, Deroir. And this is why I think they shouldn't do this, what I'm suggesting. I'm saying this like purely out of what I think is the way to go about it. And I'm kind of saying that I think that actually constructing an incentive for actually playing with guilds, I think is very difficult within Guild Wars 2, because the solution, in my opinion, right, is very, very difficult to implement within Guild Wars 2, right? If that makes any sense. I wouldn't say they should actually do this, because I agree. There's no way the community will accept anything like that. But I'm saying that like within the context of Guild Wars 2, it's really fucking difficult to actually create like a proper social guild structure within the game, because of how used to the bar being on the floor people are, right? So they don't have to jump. You can just step over it. So, it's very difficult to just say, oh yeah, guys, just start jumping really fucking high, like for no reason. It's just not going to happen, right?
I agree. I would say though that more guild interaction is something that Guild Wars 2 would benefit greatly from. And I do think that a new expansion in Cantha would be the perfect place to introduce new ways of having guild interaction. I know that they've been discussing the World versus World Alliance system with guilds being guild-based for a very long time now, and I don't know if they're actually coming close to implementing it or what, but probably be put into the expansion if that happens. That would overhaul World versus World entirely, right? Already people are in guilds for World versus World, unless you're a roamer, or unless you're just mindlessly zerging following a commander. But so that is the one place I think that guilds, although not completely necessary, because I think they're probably going to do something where if you don't have a guild or if you have a small guild, you'll still be randomly slotted into an alliance. That makes guilds necessary for World versus World, and I don't think that's a bad thing. PvP, if they add something guild oriented for that, let's say already you could join a guild that does PvP and group up with them whenever you want, but if they add a new game mode that is locked away behind a guild, do you think that would be a bad thing? Because you already still have all the other PvP stuff. Then on top of that, in PvE, if they have just a certain aspect in PvE, not the entire world of Cantha, not the entire map, not the entire storyline, but just a certain map, maybe a certain aspect of PvP that is locked behind, or not locked behind, but you get bonuses, let's say, if you have a guild doing these things. Is that a bad thing?
No, I think honestly doing anything is better than nothing, right? Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, I'm never gonna say no to this. I guess I'm a little bit fatalistic, a little bit a bit pessimistic about how a lot of this stuff would actually go down, I suppose, with solving the underlying issue. But yeah, like I think they should do anything, right? Honestly, there's not that much difference in Guild Wars 2 between players kind of like pretending to play with each other just to get rewards and actually playing with each other. I think like either is pretty good, right? And some of it might end up being organic there as well. But I think it might. Look, it's time to run away from this topic. I told you we should have. I wanted to dodge this one for this exact reason, because I don't know, like it's such a meme. Like the whole guild thing in Guild Wars 2 is such a clown fiesta. I mean, oh my god, what is going on there, dude? Oh my god, bring me Onslaught. Oh, that's a good one right there. But like, I don't know. What else are we doing, guys? Like, what else are we talking about? Are we talking about any video games?
We talked a lot about Cantha and stuff, but that was like literally a single sentence on the post.
Yeah, that's good.
That had a lot of other stuff in it. And then on top of that, we're getting stuff in 2 days, right?
Yeah, we're getting stuff literally this Tuesday. Feels fucking good, man. Okay, it feels so good. Visions of the Past is coming out. And we're getting that Eye of the North meme there as well, which is just gonna be doing its thing. We're gonna be back there for sure. And I think there's one thing we haven't talked about actually, because I think we did kind of touch on Visions of the Past and what we think about that. What do you guys think about like season 1 coming back? Now that is kind of interesting, I think.
That is interesting.
I mean, honestly, I think it's going to be boring.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I mean, no offense to the quality of season 1 was very different from what we have now. And I think it's going to be very apparent, like a smack in the face kind of apparent when we jump into it. If it is the same,
But
which
isn't
I
this
assume, it
an
is.
overhaul though, isn't it? I thought it was going to have like a huge overhaul.
Well, overhaul in what
order
sense?
to implement it, it's going to have to be instanced, right? So I thought that they were.
Well, it was instance as well. They're adding like what is it, 4 instances, which are just like boss fights, or like introductions to like the some of the characters like Braum and Scarlet and Rox and Canuck. But I think it's just going to be what we had back then, which was good for the time. But unless they really add anything else to it, like it's just going to be there, and it's just going to be another story with nothing really
It's going
to it.
It's going to
I don't want to be I don't want to sound bitter or anything about it, because I actually think I do, don't I? Like but yeah, I think it's an overhyped thing.
Okay.
And it's going to be a very apparent. I'm not saying that it's necessarily going to be a waste of time. They're probably going to smack some cool stuff onto it, but I think it's going to feel like
nice that it's just 4, I guess, episodes of the first season that you don't have to pay for.
I think a lot of it is going to be for the benefit of players who weren't around back then, right? It's going to be all about giving context, because you think if you just start playing Path, I mean, honestly, if you start playing Guild Wars 2 and you leap right into the latest story, it's so weird, isn't it, actually? Because like, everyone's calling you the pack commander, right? You know, there's like loads of weird stuff going on there. Who the hell are these characters? Why do I know them? What's going on? It can be a little bit unusual. I think that's not necessarily a criticism of Guild Wars 2 either. It's just the nature of MMOs, right? Any MMO that you kind of essentially kind of hop in, boost to max level, right, and then away you go. You're always going to be a bit disconnected from the story to a certain extent. But in Guild Wars 2, like, you could argue it's even worse, because like some of the old story just doesn't exist anymore within the game. Like, that you cannot go and learn about it even if you wanted to. So yeah, I think they're going to introduce Canuck, Rox, Braum, right, which is very important stuff. I think kind of to give you some context into the story, and I guess they'll go for a little bit of context into Aurene as well, right? Potentially with the Scarlet stuff they're going to do there as well. I presume that's kind of the direction, the thrust they're going to go with that, to go like, oh, well, how did that happen, right? Explaining some of that really, really early on stuff there. Maybe some context to Heart of Thorns there as well for the new friends coming in there. So, to be honest, I actually do think it is a really, really good idea. This is a good use of presumably the scrying pool, actually, because this can give you some stuff that doesn't exist anymore.
I agree. It's a unique control in chat is making a really good point. It's for the new players. It's for the players that missed season 1. It's not for people like me, and I'm very aware of that. But that doesn't mean it's a bad idea. I definitely think it's a great idea to implement season 1 in some capacity, because it's a missing part of the game. It's a big missing piece
for
of
sure.
the puzzle.
People have been asking for it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, hopefully, one thing I would really like to see come back from season 1, which is something that I think maybe, I think you're going to be right, Deroir. Like, the story execution probably isn't going to be quite on the level that it is now. No. But I'll tell you what, there were some good world bosses, right? And if they could bring those back, Marionette, Battle on the Breachmaker, maybe even Battle for Lion's Arch, that sort of thing.
How would they do those though?
Oh, imagine if they do Battle for Lion's Arch.
I mean, I guess I mean, anything is possible, right? Within the context of the scrying pool. Like, I mean, for something like the open world meta events, it could be just like a regular meta event, right? So suppose Battle for Lion's Arch is something that happens every 2 hours in Eye of the North, and essentially when the event starts, a portal
It's a
opens.
public map.
Yeah, a public map that you teleport into, and it's like, we're back in time, woo, right? And then you can re-experience that. They could even introduce some of the old AP, which is certainly something a player like you might be interested in. Jordan. Did you get all the AP from season 1, or are you missing some?
No, I didn't give a shit back then.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So that would be really
I'm missing a lot of that.
So that this sort of thing could be very interesting to a lot of players who are achievement hunters who missed some of this stuff, right? And are therefore kind of like at a permanent disadvantage, right? Because like even if you completed literally every achievement in the game, you would not be able to, say defeat, fucking Valen, right? Who's done some of the Living World story, Living World Season 1 stuff, right? And then maybe I think Valen actually lacks some of the Season 1 stuff as well, actually. And so like he might be able to catch up as well to rank 1 on NA or ERE or whatever. So I don't know. I think that there's actually quite a lot of utility with bringing the stuff back there as well.
You know what they should do also? They should bring back being able to vote for either Ellen Keel or
so we do a full-on, we go back in time.
Yeah, let's just do it. Just to
snap our fingers. Ellen Keel doesn't exist anymore. Nice.
Where is Ellen Keel these days?
She's in her office in Lions Arch.
Okay, having a good time.
That's good.
Fair enough.
That's good.
It's a POI. Yeah.
Yeah, you can go ahead and do that shit. You can do that shit. Guild Wars 2 Classic. It's Guild Wars 2 Classic. It will be like you think you do, but you actually really don't. Trust me. Like Guild Wars 2 is actually a really great example of a game that has genuinely improved in almost every way since its release. I think you could definitely make the argument that World of Warcraft has got worse, particularly in the social aspect. But Guild Wars 2 has actually got better, more or less objectively in every way. I mean, like the PvP system has gone from like a complete fucking mess to excellent. World versus World was, I mean, well, let's not even talk about that on launch, guys. Okay, like
we just need seasons back.
Yeah,
I actually agree. I do agree with that, and this is one of the reasons why I think it could be good that alliances might end up getting delayed to the expansion because it will allow them to really polish off some of those mechanics, like having a really good competitive structure to the alliances, and also having alliances simultaneously as well. So yeah, that would be that's definitely could be a really good thing there as well. And, that's
absolutely
that would be a good meme. Seasons were really good, but the problem was that people were like burned out, right? And that is a problem, right? That is an
some
issue.
of you will die, but that is a it's a sacrifice I'm willing to take.
We're willing to pay, dude. We're gonna have to fucking do that shit.
I see some people saying that the social aspect was lost later on. I don't think that was the game's fault, guys. I think that was the players.
Kind of though, because
I mean the mega servers. I don't understand how that really was a negative thing.
Look, so the issue is this. The issue is this. I think that a big problem with World versus World was being able to server transfer. Obviously, you have to be able to server transfer in a MMO like this, but the ability to server transfer combined with the fact that servers were fighting each other in this thing that a lot of people deemed important caused servers to die. And that's what made them have to create the mega server system. So if it's instead tied to guilds, it doesn't matter for the game itself if guilds die because of competitive things. It's okay if some guilds die and everybody moves to some other guild. It's not okay if literal servers die.
Yeah.
And then
you end up with Wildstar, dude. Okay? Wildstar.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, no, I mean, to a certain extent, it wasn't. Well, what I was trying to get at is that it's improved mechanically. In a way, it was the game's fault. I think a lot of the decline of Guild Wars 2 was ultimately down to the developer, right? I mean, Guild Wars 2 is very good, and it is better than basically every other MMO mechanically. But the trouble is that ArenaNet made some pretty serious fucking missteps, and those happened with the mega content drought after HOT. Path of Fire releasing with basically no real end game content as well. The balance completely annihilated every single time they released an expansion. 2 of the 3 game modes completely ignored for most of the time. Okay, yeah, that was probably one of the reasons why shit started to go very, very questionable for the game, right? But that's another thing entirely, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. It's a weird meme. It's definitely a weird meme. But in terms of like the season 1 stuff coming back, I do hope they kind of eventually bring it all back. I mean, it'll be a nice little nostalgia hit, won't it, for a start, actually? And I think a lot of people have missed out on that, and now hopefully they won't. Okay, now you'll be able to get back in on that action, and they'll probably eventually add everything. They're doing 4 episodes right now. How many? Oh, rather 4 instances, right? How many were there in season 1? Just out of interest, does anyone know how long it might take them to add everything back into the game?
They're not gonna add everything. There's no way.
You think they will?
I think they'll just add key moments. There's no way they'll add everything. There's so much just. I mean, there is nowadays as well. There's just a lot of just like nonsense instances that are just for exposition, right?
Oh, okay. Gameplay ones then. Like, how many gameplay or relatively gameplay related instances were there in season 1? Probably not a crazy amount, right? I don't think.
Honestly, I don't remember.
Yeah, it's probably not that many. Apparently there are 25 instances in season 1, so we've already got 4. So we're kind of already on it then, lads. You know, we're getting on some fucking pace there. I guess. But some were like the Bazaar. Oh, yeah, so some of them were like non-combat, stuff like that. POF in Season 4 had a lot of PvE in-game content. If Season 4 had been released in a year, perfect. Well, yeah, but it wasn't, was it? and they also did like one raid a year as well, which is not good. And what happened to fucking fractals, dude? Okay, what happened? But so like yeah, I don't know, dude. Like I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. It's gonna make me sad. It's gonna make me cry, dude. It was my fault. Okay? It was my fault, guys. I take full responsibility for reading it here. Actually, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it because I said something like 2019 or 2018 will be the year of Guild Wars 2. That was a mistake. I cursed the game.
You've completely
I cursed the game, dude. Like, there's no way out of it. It was I should not have done that.
I hope you haven't said anything about 2020, right?
Well, I mean, I am lauding this.
Then you've cursed it again.
I am lauding this as the Guild Wars 2 redemption arc, dude. Like hardcore, dude. Is it dead?
It's only going down from here now. Oh my god, he said it.
I'm gonna have to say this. I think that a lot of people on Reddit would agree that everything bad that ever happened in Guild Wars 2 was because of you.
That's you know what's funny, actually? You're not wrong, dude. Okay, you're actually not fucking wrong. Okay, but yeah, it's true though. Every game that I get excited for gets cursed. Ashes of Creation, they got delayed by like fucking 2 or 3 years recently, and now they've released a fucking battle royale game, okay, which is not good. Now, to be fair, I'm being a little bit facetious. I'm still pretty hyped about the game. I think it has a bright future, but still, it's a meme. Okay, New World, they completely 180 on their design principles. Okay, and now it's just we're going another direction. I need to stay away from games, guys. Okay, I'm cursing all of them.
It's all your fault.
It's my fault. It is 100% my fault for this. It feels bad, man. Okay, it's not good, not good at all.
Guys, you can now quote this and put it on Reddit. Everyone in chat, yeah,
you can do that shit. You can just throw it down.
Great content.
Just throw it down there. Just get it down there. You know. You don't too much about Camelot Unchained. That's probably going to be good then. See, that's nice. There's one more thing actually that we kind of got alluded to. Do you guys remember the post by where they talked about like the future of PvE content, right? Essentially, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. The one that was at the start of the year, I believe, right? Like, one thing they talked about is like potentially doing like one-time events in a way.
Again,
right? Yeah. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that's...
Wait, what are we talking about right now?
I think that's okay as long as they put them all up in the Eye of the North afterwards.
Oh, so have them kind of like as a permanent fixture even after they're gone from the actual real world.
Wait, hold up. Which events are we talking about right now?
Who was the post written by? Help me. I'm bad and I can't remember. The post about like the general PvE content at the start of the year. It was like a big update, and yeah. Hang on. Who wrote it? Who fucking wrote it, dude? Someone.
Are we talking like a Reddit thing or?
No, it was on the Guild Wars 2. Someone in the chat has got to know this, okay? Right, Andrew Gray, thank you. Yes, the post written by Andrew Gray at the start of the year. He was alluding to the fact that they're going to be talking about like in-game events that actually change the world, right? Like the world will be different after the world, and they might not be permanent. Like this was like quite strongly alluded to, I think.
Wait, I need to find this. Are you sure you're not just talking about those like mini events that they do occasionally?
It could be interpreted that way, but I think it was like in the same breath as talking about season 1. So it's like, okay, are they actually thinking about bringing back like one-time events? Yeah, I think maybe they
honestly, that
Yeah.
I do like. We all know the problem with like doing non-repeatable things, and it's just lost content. But at the same time, it was really exciting season 1 when they
Yeah,
had
dude, it's fucking
world-changing
hype, man.
stuff.
Yeah.
If anyone in chat has the post, please
Link
post
the
it.
post. Get
Or
the post
link
in
it to
here.
me.
Bring it in, dude. Let's
Speaking
go.
of, because I can't really follow that train of thought right now. I need to see the hard facts.
Oh shit, it needs to be in the
before
mix.
I can comment on it,
Yeah.
I guess.
I'm yeah.
But what do you guys feel about Q2 only having one episode release?
Oh.
That's weird to me. I think that they've like clowned. I don't know what's going on with this quarter 2 update actually, because just in general with the quarter 2 update, one, why is the raid not there for a start? Okay, because I'm expecting the raid to come out after episode 3. Am I to assume that's not going to be the case and we won't get a raid till at least quarter 3?
It might be, but then it'll be in quarter 3.
Yeah, that kind of scares me. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, why in quarter? Well, and in quarter 2, I guess it kind of makes sense. There's only one episode because, you know, it's kind of.
I mean, quarter 2 is festival, episode, festival, bonus events, maybe tournament of legends.
Well, yeah, yeah, but
that's it.
If you think about it though, like I guess you might get the next episode like immediately in quarter 3 though, because like the way time is overlapping, isn't it kind of inevitable that some of the quarters only have one episodes in because you know 2 doesn't you know because you're getting it every 2 months, right? So you're getting it every you're kind of getting an episode, you know, once every 2/3 of a quarter, right? So it doesn't
a quarter
divide.
is every 3 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you have a 2-month cadence, then you have 2 in one quarter and 1 in another.
Yeah. So you have that overlap and then lack of within there. So yeah, that's so a big update every month though, an episode every 2 months. Yeah, but they didn't. But look what they've done so far. It's almost certainly going to be every 2 months. Like for the last 3 episodes, like 0, 1, and 2, it's been every 2 months. And this one is almost certainly going to be directly after SAB, which is another 2 months since the last one. So it's been 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 the entire way. And that's likely to continue, I think, with kind of renewed focus there as well. There you go. There you go. Easy peasy, I guess. So I don't know, like it's the quarter 2 one I think does leave a lot of questions unanswered, right? I do really wish they would address raids in a more solid way, because if there was gonna be a raid, it should be kind of around just after episode 3, right? And episode 3 is probably coming kind of towards the end of April, so you'd expect the raid to be in May or June, right? And that is, I don't know, dude. Like, is that gonna happen? If they didn't say it, then maybe. And I think the silence is a little bit deafening here, and it really kind of puts some perspective on what they said previously. With like, oh yeah, raids, they're difficult to develop for, man. Raids are difficult.
Wait, sorry, I have to ask you to backtrack because I zoned out for a second reading the thing. I'll get back to that in a second. But what were you talking about right now? What are they silent about?
The silence regarding raids, right?
Raids. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So that's some like weird stuff going on there.
I mean, I think I said it on TeaTime before, but I don't expect a raid until the end of the season.
Really?
Yeah, I expect strike missions to come all throughout the season release, and then maybe at the very end we'll actually get a dragon raid.
Do you think
I think that's because what they're building up to right now with strike missions is to get people into raids. The likelihood that they will end the season with a raid is pretty big, if not just drop it afterwards.
Oof.
I don't think there's any raids coming until the very end, if that even. So get used to strikes, my dude.
Do you think they would save it for the X-Pack?
Yeah.
Because to be honest, like the way I'm saying is maybe I'm thinking maybe a little bit too corporate. Maybe I'm a little bit hail corporate right now. But when I'm thinking about what ArenaNet, when I'm trying to comment on what ArenaNet should do, or will they do that, will they do this, is what would be the best for the game? Because ultimately, I am a little bit of an ArenaNet shill, guys. Okay, to a certain extent, or at least a white knight at the very least. And I want the game to do well. And you know what does well? releasing an expansion that's got raids, strike missions, fractals, alliances, guild stuff, like some kind of like wonky faction shit going on there as well. So I kind of think that, yeah, maybe it would actually be better to save the raid and drop it at the same time as the expat, right? To really make a big splash, right? Because like ArenaNet has got a lot of work to do to make people take their games serious again. Like ArenaNet, Guild Wars 2, it's been Omegalul for a long time, right? You go on a Final Fantasy stream, you talk about Guild Wars 2, they say Omegalul, right? You go in a World of Warcraft stream, you talk about Guild Wars 2, or say you suggest, hey, maybe you should try Guild Wars 2. The chat is, you're farming Omegaluls there, right? And, ArenaNet is definitely on their redemption arc with Guild Wars 2, adding lots of content, fresh beans, easy, but what they need is that like big splash. They need to do Shadowbringers. Let's stack content. Yes, let's stack content, dude. 100%, dude. Yeah, obviously. Of course you stack content. If you don't do that, then you end up with Path of Fire. Like, Path of Fire is it was not good. Okay,
I agree with you. They should stack content, but they're definitely going to release a raid before the X-Pack. The X-Pack's not for a little while now. It's going to be probably at least a year away, if not like a year and a half. So there's going to be a raid before then. The only thing I'm kind of worried about, do you know what the raid team is like nowadays? Like, do you know any of the people on the raid team anymore?
Well,
because I know
Ben A is back.
I know that the leader of the raid team.
Well, that doesn't mean he's back on the team.
No, she's Crystal Reed is not on.
No,
not there anymore. Right?
No, he said Ben.
Oh, Ben. Oh, Ben. Yeah. But Ben's doing so much stuff. I don't think he's also going to be.
Ben A.
The Ben Arnold.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. He's back. The guy with the hat, the wizard hat.
Yeah, the wizard hat. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't mean he's back on the Raid and Fractal team.
That's true.
He could be anywhere. He could be on the X-Pack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that fourth
isn't
team?
That what they're hiring for right now?
Is that fourth team the X-Pack team? Because we know they've got 4 teams right now. Is it X-Pack team?
All the OGs that were laid off are now getting rehired to make an X-Pack.
Yeah. It's a big name.
Nice.
That's some good content there, dude. Some big fucking memes, dude.
Yeah. So like I doubt we're gonna have 2 raids before the X-Pack, but I still think we're gonna have 1.
I would like that. I would like that, but I think
2022 X-Pack, and then 2021 we get 1 raid.
Yep. Or 2020 we get 1 raid. 2021.
What, 2020? Do you really think we're getting 1 this year? Whew, that's ambitious.
I think so.
I'm being a little facetious, but
no, I think
I'm not very. Yeah,
I think we get 1. I feel like I might be stupid, but yeah, I mean, think we get 1.
Maybe I'm just being. I don't know.
You think that it's all strike missions now?
Yeah, I think for a long time at least, it's going to be all strike missions. I think Wing 8 is going to be a ways off. I think the reception of Wing 7 was such a disaster by the community.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
That, I mean, and the thing is, like, Wing 7 isn't bad. It was just there's a lot of people that rushed it really quick and gave it a really bad rep, in my opinion.
Wing 7 is very unpopular, actually. Yeah, you're right there. Like, it's one of the least played raid wings. Actually, it feels bad, man. It's a good raid wing mechanically.
It's a really good raid wing. It's very unique bosses, and it's got a really horrible rep. And I think if you see a decline in interest from the player base, obviously there's a lot of the hardcore raiders and whatnot were like, oh, right, okay, this is it, this was easy, and then they pieced out, and so the engagement is very low for this latest wing as well. But I don't think the metrics say that raids are all that interesting for them. I mean, we even saw that in Andrew Gray's post, right?
It's like, true.
Yeah,
it's true.
Even if it's just a small percentage, we obviously need to give them attention, but.
And it's
still very small.
And it is true that in the most recent post that talked about the expansion, they didn't say anything about raids.
Yeah, which is scary, right? I mean, which is feels bad, man.
The post about the expansion didn't say anything about anything.
No, it said some stuff like
it said we have an expansion and we're not talking about anything.
It talked about
for the expansion.
It talked about some of that.
For the expansion.
It said tournament of Legends, all that sort of thing, right? But that was just like that was looking at
Q2.
Yeah.
And then they were like, all right, we're also looking far off into the future, and we're actually working on an X-Pack as well. So they were talking about only Q2.
Yeah, it might be a little bit of a quiet quarter, potentially. But they're going to try and fill it.
Festivals and festivals.
Yeah, they're going to try and fill it with events.
I mean, the legendary
well.
trinkets are gonna keep me occupied for forever.
We haven't even touched on that.
Actually, forever.
Yeah, dude. We should talk about that right now, actually. But I just want to very quickly address this thing. I think you're unfair to POF. Season episode 1 had a Fractal in the raid. Yes, Wing 5 was really good, but the trouble is it had nothing on release. Right, there was nothing replayable on release. Like I said, if Season 4 would have been a year and not maintenance, we'd have had 3 Fractals and 3 raids in a year. Yeah, if Season 4 had loads of content, it would have had loads of content. You're absolutely right, but it didn't, did it? Okay, that didn't happen. That's not reality, my friend. Why would you even say that? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, yeah, dude. If they added 3 raids, we would have had 3 raids, but they didn't, did they? Right? That's the fucking point. And there was nothing replayable on launch. That was the problem with POF. I'm not unfair to POF. Okay, POF was fucking clown fiesta, dude. Okay. But
speaking of tying up loose ends before we move on
absolutely.
To the next thing, the things that you were talking about earlier about the one-time events that they were talking about.
Yep.
They actually say at the very end of that paragraph, but learning lessons from Season 1, the bulk of this content will be built in a way that it is still playable after the Iceberg Saga comes to a close.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be like one and done. It's still going to be replayable. So
nice.
That's
by
fun.
the way, guys, I think I gotta get going. I'm getting puppy aggro.
Oh shit.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Oh no.
Puppy.
Are you gonna get devoured on stream?
Show the puppy.
Is that what this is?
The stream wants it.
If he lets me pick him up, I could. Hold on. I'm gonna pick you
I
up.
like POF because of the elite spec, Sassy. Okay,
there's one.
I liked all the. POF was great because the game was fresh again. It was fucking high energy, dude. And honestly, the content was good, but it was only good like very briefly because I beat it like in 12 hours or some shit, dude. Yes, like the content itself was good, but the trouble is it wasn't good MMO content. Like let's see. Oh look, dog enabled. Yeah.
Oh, he's cute. Or she.
Whoa.
Aww.
Whoa. Yeah.
What a circus doggo.
Any dogs in the chat, guys? Any dogs in the chat? Yeah. Yeah. I'm just saying. Are there any dogs in the chat? Bam. That's kind of that cleaned up. So we've got that tied up there as well. But I mean, I think that they do. I understand that they're saying they're going to learn from their mistakes, but to a certain extent, they are also there implying that they're going to have some stuff that might be a little bit temporary, right? And actually dynamically change the world, and the world might end up shaped differently as a result of some of the events. I think. Which is which is pretty good. But I mean, I guess we can kind of stick a pin in that. And we've got one more last thing, which is to subscribe with Amazon Prime. You're absolutely right, Black Sun. But no, what it actually is the legendary trinkets, because that's the other stuff that I wasn't expecting that just to come out of nowhere, right? Because if anything, that would drop with the massive PvP update we got right earlier. But I guess it wasn't quite done yet. Maybe some of the effects weren't polished up there. But we are actually getting a PvP ring and a world versus world amulet, right? Is that the way around it is, I think?
No, the other way around.
Fuck! Other way around, okay.
PvP amulet and
world versus world ring. Okay, so now Deroir can finally achieve his goal of purple in every hole.
Purple in every hole.
Okay, that's pretty fucking big, dude. Okay.
I mean, even if it's just purple in every hole on one character, I'll be happy. But if they're actually repeatable, my life will probably sink into deep depression trying to get these eternally.
Dude. Yeah.
So yeah. Awesome. Can't wait.
It's really cool. They're finally completing the set, and I do actually like that it is in the other game modes as well, because I think legendaries are something that players do like to collect, right? And and honestly, because they can be quite annoying to get, stuff like Aurora, Coalescence, and Vision, they are kind of annoying. Not a lot of people actually do them. There is a certain level of exclusivity to owning these legendary trinkets, right? Like,
I love that it's actually kind of like this is end game content that you have to grind to get the end game reward.
Yeah.
How shiny do you think we're gonna be?
I hope it's gonna be a static orb above our head. I hope the last one is going to be just a coalescence of all the orbs into one static glowing something. I want it to have a shape. I don't want it to just be a ball of goo that is like it is right now.
Yeah.
I think that is a good idea. But more importantly, I think instead the World versus World one should have Doliacs rotating around
Nice.
you, and the PvP one should have, I don't know, Salt.
My fear is actually that they don't interact with the current system. That's kind of my like irrational fear, because everything's pointing towards it being integrated into the existing system because it's the two last ones. But there's part of me that's just like, but what if it's just completely new effects? How is that gonna?
Ooh, that would be weird, actually.
It
but
would.
But
It
don't
really
you think
would.
that's actually kind of likely? I would. I know.
It is.
I,
And that's why.
yeah.
That's why I'm kind of thinking it. Maybe there's a chance that it's just completely separate system. I would hate it. But yeah.
I think that isn't that likely though. Because I'm not sure if they would go like add this like in. I mean, it would be kind of cool, right, to have like this full set of legendary trinkets that all conglomerate.
It would be
together.
amazing. It would be amazing if you actually got the full conglomerate of orbs above your head, and once you had all 5 effects, it would be your like it's like a sign of mastery of all the different
of all the game modes.
Right?
Someone once said that it's gonna look like the Eternal Alchemy, maybe, and I thought that might be cool.
Yeah, I think that was me that said that.
Oh, very nice.
There we go.
Very nice.
Boom. Nice. And that would be really cool, actually, if they did that.
It would.
But will they? I don't know. Wait, is there any reason why they wouldn't do that? Why wouldn't they do that?
No, I mean, my only thinking is that the PvP rewards are a little bit. The PvP and World vs. World rewards are always a bit different from everything else. It seems like it's always been different teams. I don't know. It's just who knows.
Yeah, and maybe they don't want.
I'm excited for it though. I'm excited to be grinding this for everything.
Yeah, they might.
Yeah, maybe they don't want things that are specific. I mean, like, who really wants a legendary trinket necessarily for PvP, right? So like maybe they don't want something that is really only for PvE, or World versus World really to be locked only behind PvP. So they won't necessarily make that one integrated with the other ones and have a separate one eventually attainable that's integrated with the other ones.
And how would it work interacting with the visuals, right? Because the way the current legendaries work, correct me if I'm wrong here, is that if you equip any one of them, it basically just looks like Aurora, doesn't it? Right? And then as you add more to them, then it develops the effect. Right? If you equip just Vision, it's the same as Aurora, right?
Oh, really?
Right?
Yeah.
And
it's the same baseline. It's just
you just like you upgrade the tier, right, as you equip more of the legendaries. So, so suppose you're a PvP player. It probably kind of sucks to get your legendary trinket, and it just looks like Aurora.
And it's just Aurora.
Yeah, and it's just Aurora.
Yeah.
And then in order to upgrade it to kind of get to like that really high level, you have to go and do all the other stuff as well.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of means that surely they would probably want to go in a slightly more. A separate direction to have a different look for it.
I don't know though. Like, is it possible that they want people? Maybe this is the way they're forcing people to play every game mode.
I mean, if they actually split them, it would kind of crush me. Not gonna lie, because it would seem so disconnected from the established system. It would almost feel rushed. You feel me?
Yeah. And wait, hang on. Wait, I hope the PvP trinket will be visible in PvP. That is like a really big meme actually, because right now Aurora doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't work, does it? Right?
No.
Wait, infusions don't work either. I wonder if they're fixing that.
No, nothing.
Are they? They must be fixing that then.
Do you think so? I don't actually.
They must be, otherwise it won't. Okay.
I have to go.
Pet your fucking dog, dude.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go.
I gotta go.
Okay. Honestly, it might be time just to wrap it up anyway, actually. In fact, I think it is.
We've kind of reached
I think it's time. But yeah, that will be a funny meme. So let's just wrap it up here then real quick. Seeing as I think we have kind of reached the end of the tea time. What an epic one. But let's just get right into it. Boots, quickly.
Hi.
Tell us how we can experience you.
YouTube World of Enders. That's my jig, I don't know. Jam. That's my jam. Go there.
Good jam
stuff.
World of Enders. There we go. All right, and then next up, he hard rage quit the game, as we found out
I
at the
hard
start of the
rage
stream.
quit.
He
I never
uninstalled
fucking
Guild
quit
Wars
this
2,
game.
dude. Okay, Deroir's NPC left the Mistlock Sanctuary,
never
dude.
uninstalled
Okay,
this game.
yeah.
I've never quit this game. I've never said that I will quit this game. I've said that I would quit this game if Guild Wars 3.
yeah.
So there's that. But Guild Wars 3 wasn't announced. We got an X-Pack. I'm only happy right now. So yeah. Twitch slash Deroir. You know how it goes. I'll be live on Tuesday.
Boom.
Yeah.
Gonna be grinding out some PvP, having a good time, you know?
Yeah, I might actually completely skip Visions of the Past and just like
oh
leave that
shit,
for
like
later
start
and see if
grinding. That's fucking fat, dude. Oh my god.
It always annoys me when
Yeah.
shit like that coincides with one another. It's the same with like raids and Living Story comes out at the same time. I'm gonna do the raid first, and then I don't know. I both like it and dislike it. It's amazing.
Okay. All right then, and then finally, it is me, guys. Follow this channel right now. Tea times will be happening when things go on there, guys. Okay, you know, when there's content, when there's something to talk about. Tea times. I'm still trying to get the balanced tea time together, guys. I know it's been a while, but I'm still working on it. I'm talking to ArenaNet to try and get CMC on.
Late news.
Yeah. It's not, dude. It's the balance is still evolving. You know, with the meta's playing out. We haven't even had the first monthly yet. If anything, we should wait until after the monthly to see like the real fucking content, because we don't see a lot of ATs right now. So boom, I win that debate.
Really?
Boom, easy. So yeah, we're you know, there might be another tea time next week, maybe depends on how Visions of the Past is. Who the fuck knows? But yeah, follow the stream, guys. Subscribe to the stream. I stream all the time, so you can come back and watch all over the place. Boots is getting the fuck out of here. We're getting the hell out of here as well.
Last question.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Last question.
Yeah, let's go.
2v2s are a mini season,
Yep.
which means they're gone after a month or something like that.
Huh?
Do we get them back? Do they have to completely update the PvP UI if we ever want those back?
I imagine
Like
they've got
unranked.
they've probably got the technology for it to be pretty easy for them to do that, right? And it'll be.
I just want unranked to be 2v2s when the season starts. I just want them to flip
like an option.
between. Well, or that,
Yeah.
Queue for 2v2. Let's do it.
I want it.
That could definitely be a thing there. You know, that could happen. But anyway, we'll certainly see how that goes. Yeah, now that's it now. So yeah, follow the stream, guys. Subscribe to the stream. Follow me on Twitter at MightyTeapot, guys. Follow the lads here, guys. Check out their great content. They have some of my lads here. They've stuck it out for nearly 3 hours of tea time, guys. It's absolutely fucking massive. We're gonna raid Syndra Steelman, okay? Let's fucking go, dude. I'll see you all tomorrow. I'll be back. And, of course, on Tuesday as well, where you can probably catch all of us doing something or other right over there. So, yeah, you guys have a wonderful evening.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. Use those fucking primes in the chat, guys. Get those primes going hard. Have a wonderful evening. Thanks for watching. Follow, subscribe. Give us all your fucking money. And we'll see you around later, guys. Good evening, my friends.
Bye.
Enjoy the next stream. Thanks for watching.
Stay away from coronavirus.
Good advice.
Yes.
Very good
Everyone
advice.
stay safe.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, wash your hands.
Stay indoors. Watch the stream 24 hours a day, guys, okay?
And wash your fucking hands.
Yeah, wash your hands. Don't go outside, okay? Watch the stream and play some video games.
But for real, even if you're low risk, other people aren't.
That's actually some real shit there, dude.
Yeah.
Real.
Stay away from your parents and your grandma. Just don't.
Yeah. Don't hug your parents.
I like this.
Yeah, and wash your hands.
You know, I do like that.
I can't say that enough.
This is I like that we're getting some informational stuff at the end of the stream. Okay,
Yeah.
I do like that. But yeah, that's very good stuff. But now we're actually going for real, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
See you later.